Hey everybody, Ken Plume here with another edition of Force 5, the show where I have a guest on and we talk about their 5 favorite Star Wars collectibles from their collection. This is their choice. I'm gonna have them rank it. I'm gonna rank their choices. I don't know if I was very clear on that, so it may be a little bit more pressure that's gonna be ranking. But my very special guest for this episode is a collector, an icon within the collecting community. I'm going to say it. I get to say all these things. It's my intro, so you can't you can refute it afterwards. But right now, my guest is John Miko. John Miko, welcome to the show.
Ken, thank you for having me, man. I'm super excited. As I mentioned, I'm a little nervous. I hope I live up to the Force 5 expectations, man.
Well, you got 5 chances.
Yeah, true. Very
So
true.
was now was it a surprise that you're going to have to rank it? Because for some reason, even though I'm pretty explicit about the ranking and all the episodes at the top show the ranking and all the episodes have them ranking them, people seem to be
Oh
surprised by the
man.
idea. And just know going in, it's only in this moment that you're ranking these. It can change at any time past this. So you're not hurting the feelings of any of your collectibles.
Good
Just know
good to
in the
know.
moment, in this moment right now, as you're ranking them, it's going to be a choice. So knowing that, looking at what you have in front of you, which I don't know, what you have selected for this, do you have one that is far and away going to be your number one?
Oh, it's so tough, and I'll just say without giving anything away that there, and I'm sure this holds true for everybody that's on the show, including yourself, that you have pieces in your collection that have nostalgic and sentimental value. Then you also have pieces that collectibles that are either definitive versions or just your favorite in general. I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing that any justice. So it's hard to pick between the
Right.
sentimental, nostalgic versus like the coolest thing in your
Right.
collection.
There are great figures from a design standpoint, but there's also great figures from I got this on a very special day in my life and I remember it fondly. And so it looks
Yeah.
like absolute garbage, but I I love it so much. And it would be the thing that I saved should anything happen and I had to choose one thing.
Yeah. Perfect.
So
Exactly. So yeah.
I know that well. So you're gonna start doing this mental calculus. Is the one that's far and away as we approach it gonna be your number five? That is probably lesser down on that list.
They're they're like my children. You know,
So you have ranked them.
I don't have a favorite, but there is a ranking. How about
Yeah,
that?
yeah. When they're older, you'll let them know what it was.
And it could change. Like you said, hey, it could change.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? You're an adult. Doesn't matter. You still get to be judged. But let's dive a little bit back into sort of your collecting journey. Do you recall what the first sort of line of toys or things that you actively were like, I like these. I want more of these toys.
Yeah, I know I had mentioned to you that I think I'm kind of I'm a cusp Gen X millennial, or what we called back in the day Gen Y, before this whole millennial thing. Um, so I was born in 1980. So for me, as a child, before I would consider myself a collector, I feel like I got to experience, right, the tail end of a lot of greatness from the late 70s to early to mid 80s. So I vaguely, I remember wanting certain figures, wanting to find them in the store. And it was towards the end of the Kenner days, right? I'm sure there was plenty of overstock. Um,
No.
um, and not to go into that too much detail into that, there were favorites of mine like Mask, Centurions, Dino Riders. I mean, so many different things. And then the biggest thing for me as a kid was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was 9/10 years old.
Perfect.
Um,
Perfect age.
yeah, yeah. So that was, 89 Batman, Turtles, all the good stuff that happened at the turn of the decade, right? Um, but for me, it was the special editions that sucked me into actually becoming a collector. So I would say it was the Power of the Force 2 days. And I honestly don't remember the very first figure I bought. Um, but I bought a lot of, the red cards into green cards and all of that stuff into the freeze frames, etc.
So,
So,
but a fan of the films prior to that, and sort of, I mean, they were in the air, but there was that fallow period from 90 to 95 when it really hit the skids of you just didn't
right.
see anything. The books were out there, but that was for an older audience that wanted to
Yeah.
discover something.
Yeah. I will admit I didn't get into the books until later in life. But again, for me, when I became a collector was really the Power of the Force 2 days and really the special editions coming around.
And that says you
So
were right smack dab in the middle of being a teenager at that point. So generally
yeah.
when traditionally you would be moving away from those things in the traditional view of how those things used to work.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think I was like a junior going into senior year and it was yeah, I was deep into sports, outside activities, you know, love, all of that good stuff. Um so it
And then Star Wars tapped you on the shoulder and said,
it yeah, it tapped me on the shoulder and I haven't looked back ever since. And yeah, so it's been a pretty exciting time because a couple years later, right, or actually, my senior year, the Phantom Menace came out. So,
which I don't know if people could fully understand what that was like
right,
from a immersive merchandising environment.
yeah,
It was like being thrown into a deep end and you could not
exactly,
turn anywhere. You
right,
couldn't go to a fast food place, you couldn't go to a grocery
right,
store, you couldn't go to Sears, you couldn't go to anything. Nothing. Everything had Star Wars on it.
exactly, spot on. It was you were breathing it in, and yeah, and you know, being allowed to skip school for a valid reason like that
Now, was that school
was
sanctioned or was that
spectacular.
just a parental valid reason?
Parental valid reason. I had a 9-year-old little brother. We took him as well, so that was the first time he ever skipped school, much earlier than I ever did. Um, so yeah,
Now was he a
pretty.
Star Wars fan as well?
He does appreciate Star Wars. He's more in well, the prequels, the Clone Wars. That is a immersive
That's his emotional touchstone.
emotional and the Pokemon stuff and all of that stuff hits his wheelhouse. He's probably not to you know go back to some of your other guests, but like Emily Cantaloupe, I know she was speaking about the Beanie Babies and all of that stuff, and that was that whole generation. So I think she's
It
similar in
really
age.
was. I think the late '90s is when there was more of an awareness of collectors, the mainstreaming of collectors as a thing. Because you also
Absolutely.
had the mainstreaming of what would normally be super niche, like the fact that you could walk into a Barnes and Noble and there would be the Beanie Baby collector magazine that you could pick up that was giving you updated Beanie Baby prices that
My
somehow
yeah,
can maintain its circulation and stay in print.
my parents owned a breakfast and lunch restaurant, and there was there was a salon and a little store next to him, and literally a guy built his life and business around Beanie Baby collectibles. It was a full-on dedicated store for
I
him.
mean, it it was possible. Anything was possible then. What was it
Yeah,
ultimately a good thing? That's to be left to interpretation. Probably not.
right. Some things last longer than others,
Yeah,
like
yeah. People are
what we're
still
talking
holding
about
on to that Princess Di Bear.
today. Exactly.
There's a lot of hope tied up in that.
Yeah, and there was, eBay. eBay was really for me. I think I've been a member since '99.
eBay was a
Um,
problem.
it was a problem, and looking back at it, I probably should have spent most of my graduation money on Kenner figures.
Think of how many
It,
yak
it-
faces you could own today.
oh man, and I was just swept up in getting every variant, you know, uh, error, all of those things from the Power of the
Do you
Force
recall the
2 days.
first Holy Grail or a big Holy Grail that you were able to acquire that you're like,
Oh
this eBay thing exists.
man.
I really want to find this thing.
It was one of the now I'm forgetting because I've honestly stopped collecting it, but it was one of the, you know, short saber and a long tray error type Luke Skywalker or something like that. Um,
So
but yeah,
eBay
and
has not maintained a prominent place in your
no,
collection since then.
no, no, there might be, maybe a figure will make the Force 5 or an honorable mention from that
Okay.
era, but I'm still trying to rank everything.
I'm giving you a moment. We're leading up to it. Yeah, no, I'm in the eBay was a slippery slope when it came to collecting and the accessibility of no longer things being these disappeared distant memories. The fact that you could have a vague memory and, spend some time searching and suddenly that really low res picture in poor lighting would show up on somebody's listing.
Yes.
I mean, the days when you'd get, I just see a mass of shapes and color. Is that a thing? What are you taking this with? Is this a daguerreotype? What's going on here?
And to think the hoops we jumped through to, go get a money order and
I mean, yeah,
mail,
no electronic payments.
you know, the kids today, they don't understand the efforts
It
we
was
made to
did you
be a
did
collector.
you get my payment? Have you shipped the item yet?
Yeah, exactly. Everything from that, right, to driving to store to
I mean, doing eBay at that time really did feel like when you would do a mail away from a cereal
that's
box as a
true.
kid.
That is
Because
very
you never
true.
knew until it showed up that thing was coming. There was no
Getting it
track. There was no online tracking. That wasn't a
right.
thing.
Oh man, bringing me back to really think about all that
You
too.
might have. I don't remember getting like shipping notices.
No,
Like that wasn't like a standardized thing. You might ask them, "Hey, did you ship it?" But you might have a month go by and go, "Didn't I order something?" Or a month go by and something show up and go, "Oh yeah, I did."
it yeah, just looking back, it was a lot of effort and a lot of excitement, like you're saying, waiting for that item to come in the mail, arrive, open it up, hope it was everything you saw that it was, um, and then just finally enjoy it.
But that was also the beginning of the death of the hunt for
That
things.
is true. That is
I
true.
mean, I don't recall once eBay came along that yard sales were ever a thing that I really cared about. Is like that being a viable option or a necessity to find things or thrift stores or
Flea
I mean, I
markets
can't
and thrift
recall the last
stores.
time
Yeah,
that I actively went to a yard sale or a thrift store. It's been decades probably because why?
right, right. Um, Yeah, and there's great memories of that stuff too. I went to England in 2000 and my grandmother was a big flea market and they call them car boots, right? And everyone parks in an area and sells their items, their
It's a really
thrift
great way
items,
to set it up. It's like, listen, we're just
set
going
it
to
up.
open
Yeah.
our boot, our trunk on our car, and we're just going to sell out the back of it in this parking
Yeah.
lot, and that's
Yeah.
done. And then we just close it and we're out of here.
Yeah. Um, so that was good times too, but I felt like that was a lot more accessible there than it was at the time, where I'm from. So, um,
Yeah, just the idea of
yeah,
rounding a corner
right,
and seeing something and having that, oh, do I have the cash on me? Do I
right, right. Am I going to get a fair deal on this or am I going to steal this item?
do I have to haggle? Is that a
Do I
thing
have
that I
to
can do?
hackle? Right, right.
Because it seems expensive, but I have no way to know. All I know is it's more than I have.
Yeah, and there
And then
was
also the
times you were
sellers didn't know value most of the time
right,
either.
right, or you went back home after because I think I had a Nokia 3520 or something at the time, a little, all you could play was Snake on it. But you didn't know,
You
like,
say it
am
like
I
it wasn't a plus.
but you weren't sure all the time if you were getting a fair deal or not. That was the other
Or
part
sometimes
of
it
it.
was if you even had that thing.
Right. Right.
I mean, how many people had Excel spreadsheets or any sort of cataloging of their besides like handwritten notes in notebooks?
Uh,
I mean, the
yeah,
fact that you couldn't
just
pull out your phone with your complete list of everything that you have to double check. And I don't know about you, I still buy things
right.
accidentally that
I,
I already have.
I do, and I forget to cancel the jockeying of pre-orders. That's always frustrating too. It's like, well, I guess I'm gonna figure out what to do with these nine hammerheads I just bought.
Army building. There's a Hammerhead squadron, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm also become a customizer. And that's
Another slippery slope.
a whole new avenue, a very slippery slope, and competing time and priorities, right? I always consider myself time poor these days because I think I have too many hobbies and too many interests, even within Star Wars and collecting. But you know, I think it's a good thing to keep trying new things, keep evolving your collecting and your joy of the hobby. So
And the
with
fun of customizing, I don't know about you, sometimes you get like, oh, that hair doesn't look quite right, or this would have looked good with a wash. Well, then
yes,
you do the wash. Like I think once you get over
great
that
point.
hump of, okay, this isn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. And don't get me, sometimes I still err on the side of getting an extra figure that'll be my customizing figure because if I screw it
Yes,
up, I don't want it to be the only one that I had.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, that's a great way to put it. There are different ways that you can customize, whether it's creating figures that you've wanted, that you're impatient on, waiting for or definitive update of, or yeah, like you're saying, make something incrementally better than it was, or more accurate, more definitive.
Yeah, you want that
Um,
straight pilot Carson Teva? Pop the arms off
right,
an X-wing Luke and shove him in there.
right, right, yeah, and mishmashing figures together to make just a whole new character. That as well, to put some backgrounders within your world building
Do
dioramas.
do you find that it's you have to get to that point because when you're a collector who's just collecting these things as a collection to complete, there is the idea of, well, this has a place now. I've got it. It's done. It's locked in place. It's frozen in carbonite that this is the collection as it exists. But then you have those things, get to that point of going, but wait, what is my enjoyment of this collection now? Is it just going to sit there? Is it going to sit in a bag? Is it going to, I got it, but I didn't put it out because it didn't look quite right, or it doesn't fit in this display because it's not quite this thing, or it doesn't have this. But if I did this thing, I could make it closer to what makes me happy about this, or would make me happier about this.
That's a great point. And I'm always so in awe of some folks that have just, it looks like, and I know it never is, but a complete display, whether it's a Star Wars room or the way they set up all of their cabinets and shelving. And I'm just always so impressed with that. And it does seem like a finished uh, collection, or obviously they're probably still adding things slowly to it. But I feel like I'm the opposite, that I'm always trying to figure out how to display everything I have in a meaningful way with the limited room that I have.
I think once you get on a certain side of the collection, there is no displaying everything you have.
Right, right.
And certainly the fact that the product never stops. The
It
stuff.
it never stops.
And then you
Yeah.
also have the idea of then you have to curate if a better version comes out. then you have to start doing. Are you going to do the swaps? Even though I
I
got that
am
one
one of
of the pose that I
those.
really wanted, but
I will say I've been that type of collector most of my life. Now, fully admitting that um, y pockets of time in my life I've been casual collector, hardcore collector, back to casual collector. Again, sh the whole shifting of priorities and hobbies. Um, but for me, I've always been if a definitive version comes out, it replaces the current one that you
right.
have. And looking back, I do wish I saved some of those things because I tended to um give them to a younger generation to enjoy or, donate them. So
You
that's
caring bastard.
yeah, and as much as I played with all of the vintage toys and love the vintage toys, I and I have Kenner displayed and, that, different lines growing up. I do consider myself a more modern collector and more, I was I played with those toys as a kid. I wasn't a collector of
Right.
those when I was a kid.
So do you think you
Um,
feel more as an appreciation, like this is sort of my historical appreciation display of having these classic Kenner figures, but your heart lies with all my excitement is what's the new thing? What's the better version of this?
Exactly. I mean, if I could have everything I had as a kid and have it displayed, that would be absolutely amazing. Missed the boat on that. Like I said, back in '98 with
What
eBay,
what's the one
missed the
that you
boat.
would have that you don't have right now?
Oh man, I would love a Power of the Force carded Yoda. I would love a carded Boba Fett. Um, I mean, there's so many I would love to have. I would love an entire mask collection as well.
Are you getting
So
the new but the there was
I
little
ordered I
subjects
I ordered the bundle on
you got the full
BBTS.
bundle?
I
You went
did.
all in?
Just one. Just one. I
You say that now.
I say that now. What about yourself?
I Mask was towards the end of I mean, I was what 13 by then.
Okay.
So I had a couple of Mask toys. The only my chief memory of Mask toys was that they were compatible with GI Joes pretty much.
Yeah.
They were extremely breakable, like ridiculously breakable. Like nothing worked for
Yeah.
long.
They were
And so
flimsy.
I just
Yeah.
remember it all feeling really flimsy.
Yeah.
And I think, and also part of me was like, why don't these become a robot? Like my fun vehicles became robots. This a gun pops out or something flips over. Why can't it be a robot? It's like
Gotcha.
they didn't go all the way with it. Like it seems like a weird mashup of like it's not quite GI Joe, but it's not quite Transformers. It exists in this
Transformers.
weird liminal space of not knowing. Like if you want to do a knockoff of both franchises, you'd make Mask.
I never thought of it that way, and that makes total sense.
But I do
Yeah,
appreciate it. I mean, I appreciate it
yeah,
as another. I mean, the '80s were king of the gimmick toy lines,
right,
and it
right.
had a gimmick.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, fond memories of those things brought me into being a collector again, or being a collector, to becoming a collector, right? And I think we can say that, right? Most of us can just relate in that way. I wasn't a kid collector.
Right. No,
Yeah,
you just had toys you played with and cartoons you liked or toys that you liked, and so you got more of those toys that you liked.
right, right.
I
Um,
think the bigger thing when it moves into collections is when you determine what you retain
right,
as you get older. I think, or reacquire after that is when it moves in. But I think the stuff that survives childhood because you have an emotional attachment to it that persists, I think is when you get into that collector mentality. Even if it's not, I collect every single thing there's released. The retention, I think, qualifies as a collection. Even if it's, I have a Cobra Commander figure and an Optimus Prime. two different franchises, but you retain them. So I think that is the collection you've curated, because everyone curates their own collection and how they present what they want that to be. So that would
Yeah.
be my thesis on it.
Yeah, and I'm always fascinated with collectors that still have a lot of their childhood toys. I cannot say that. I've tried to, obviously replace some of the ones that I did. Like one of my favorites um, was this little green guy, and I have fond memories. At one point, I remember trying to get a new one of these, and we could not find one at Child World or KB Toys. Um, and I might have taken a friend's from their house, and I got in trouble. Obviously, had to go back and give it to them and
Does
apologize.
that end the friendship?
No, and we're still friends today. He was actually up here
Does
from
he every once in a while
Tennessee.
go, "Hey, you remember this? You remember this?"
I'm the one that actually reminds him. I don't even think he knew. Um, but it's those memories. Memories like my brother and I loved to uh, find out what we were getting for Christmas beforehand by, ransacking closets and attics and my parents' hiding
A
spots.
lot of
And one
Mission
time,
Impossible.
a lot of Mission Impossible. And one time we discovered you know, a ton of mask vehicles and figures. So that again, those memories
But having a
bring
sibling,
us back.
and if it's just a
Yeah.
bag full of the purchased toys with no labels on it, there's got to be that weird space in between before Christmas comes going, is that a toy that's for me or is that a toy that's for you? Who's getting this?
That is very, very true. My brother was a Joe fan and I was not. So it tended to work
Was there
those ways.
a lot of post Christmas Day swaps?
I think we
Like
were
you didn't really want
generally
that, but
we yeah, we were generally pretty good about playing, with them together and, you know, just destroying them outside,
you weren't
having a
super
lot of fun.
possessive of the demarcation
No.
between whose was whose.
Yeah, and I had a cousin who was I think 4 or 5, I think 5 years older. So he was born in like the mid 70s, and I remember getting a ton of his Star Wars, excuse me, Star Wars toys and Transformers and all of that type of stuff as
Oh,
a
is this
kid
his
too.
choice or is
So,
this like a parental? Oh, here's all of so and so's old toys.
I never asked him, and I'm gonna have to ask him sometime. Like,
I
do you
speak from
remember
experience.
do you
That's a
remember
trauma.
giving up? Drama.
That's a childhood trauma of one. Where are my Star Wars toys? Oh, I
He
gave them to your cousins.
he knows I'm a big, Star Wars nerd now, and I often tell him like it's partly your fault. He shakes his head. He's like, I didn't ever think I had anything to do with it, John, but
You
you're
show them all
welcome.
the pre-orders and go, "You did this.
Right, 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 right.
This could be a
So
house."
so yeah. Yeah, no, it's great to talk about these things and go back and think of all those memories as a kid because I feel like as we get older, it's tough to retain some of those. So it's good to reflect on it.
Or just retain that joy about it,
Yeah.
because and it's sad so much to see how much of the infighting there is within the community of everyone should just be happy, and there's not some master scheme to deprive one line over another of these things, and the heated anger that people have over these decisions, that who knows who's making these decisions or what's leading to them. It's an arcane thing that none of us will ever truly know, and there's no fingers to point. And I think that it's, I think just retaining that joy or finding that joy and go, you know what? It's just toys. We should just chill out and enjoy it and realize that, yeah, everyone wants everything now, because it'd be swell to have all the things you want now and be done with it and not have to worry about it. But that's not possible. We're all
Correct.
waiting. there's always going to be one weird thing like, oh, maybe the color wasn't communicated correctly to the factory, so that paint's a little bit off, or they had to save money here, so they reuse those legs. It's not the end of the world. It's not a holy war about a figure.
Yeah, it we can be insufferable at times, and especially
Because we're
through
emotionally invested in it
right.
as well. I mean,
Yeah.
that's been the journey. I don't know about you. For me, is that just relax. Same thing with
Yeah.
movies, TV shows. You don't like a thing, you can move on. It's fine. And if it's causing you that much stress, maybe it's not the best thing. As you know, as we look at pages and pages of pre-orders and juggling this and when's this coming out and what do you mean they're shipping it now? They can't do that to me. What?
Yeah, I think passion can be expressed in the right way. And constructive feedback, and yeah, just don't let it ruin your your life, your enjoyment, and especially other people's enjoyment
Yeah, because it
for
is
what they
not
love.
worth it. It is
Right,
not worth doing that
right,
about this.
right, right. And I think, just speaking for myself, my journey as I don't want to, I don't want to call myself an influencer, but my journey in being a community, member or leader, I do my best to get the community excited, help people express what they want, rally around things that they want, and also, again, just have people come together, get to meet one another, and just, again, enjoy this together as much as possible.
And it's
So
and it's a bit of a miracle that these lines still persist.
it
When
really
you look at
is.
the economic landscape, when you look at the fact that you don't have a Toys R Us, you don't have all those toy stores you just mentioned,
Great
KB,
point.
all gone.
Gone.
All these dedicated toy stores for just that are gone. All these ability to sell these things have dried up. And so the fact that the
Yeah.
line persists and the amount of figures, I mean, I think that's the remarkable when people say, well, they don't put anything out anymore. They're barely putting anything out. And you look at the end of the year, the amount of stuff that was released in any given year is kind of ridiculous considering the struggle that there is to deliver anything today.
Yeah, as you know, Ken, I do a lot of data and analytics. It's what I do for a living. And I've also done some of it for, collecting the vintage collection, and as well as the polling that we do for the last figure standing. And, I was just working on the year so far, for TVC. And it's pretty amazing the diversity and balance we're seeing. Now, take out of it, the balance of are we getting enough of the media and characters we want?
Which
There's
is unique to every single person.
right, right. Yeah. And we're getting multiple vehicles, fine, again, we're getting multiple creatures. We're getting multiple play sets, and we've gotten, I think, with the HasLab figures, 67 figures so far that we know of, and a lot of it is partial tooling to figure out how they can maximize that.
Right.
So there are going to be things that happen, like you're saying, where, well, the boots are not accurate, or Velkin Tazari's pants are not the same pants that he
Or
wore
they
in the movie.
ruined Dedra. It's like, relax, relax. It's not
um,
the end of the world.
yeah,
And also, there may
it's
be
tough.
someone who has shorter legs and someone you could swap in and do a custom, and suddenly everything that happened with Shin and Balin in the Black series,
Oh, right,
you
right.
find a way. It'll all be fine. It's all gonna be fine. You just need to relax.
Yeah, there is a balance. You hope, again, being a definitive type of collector, I do want everything to be
You would
what it
hope,
is,
yeah,
but
right. You would hope right out of the gate too. It's like
we have to be realistic.
we're never going to
Yeah.
see it. You would hope it would be the best possible version. But if we've never seen it before, then it is the best possible version that we've gotten to that point. You can hope it was better,
Right.
but by dint of it being the only one in existence, it automatically is the best possible version for whatever the circumstances were. And so
Yeah.
many, so much of the collecting community also speaks in absolutes when it comes to,
Oh,
well, they're
oh,
never going to do creatures again.
there
Oh, they're
there
doing
are
creatures? I never said they'd never do them again.
there are a lot of Sith lords out there for sure. For sure. Um, yeah, and again, I think there's the right ways to, be passionate and want these things and think of creative ways to do it. But, Hasbro is a for-profit company and, they're doing, I
That is
think,
also dealing with a licensee,
a licensee that's very what's the word?
particular.
Particular and expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
mean, a 1-2 punch of
Right.
a navigational challenge.
Yeah, exactly. And I think people forget that it's been evolving toys, I think, since we were kids, right? We had video games starting to take us away from toys at a very young age. Um, we had phones at some point starting to take us
Computers.
away from these things. Computers, more than, yeah, forget phone. Computers, exactly. All sorts of things like that competing for toy time. So it's nothing new. It's just it's becoming more and more consuming, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that if you want to be an angry person in this hobby, it's very easy to find like-minded individuals to reinforce that anger.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And that that's the bigger challenge of all that. And unfortunately, a lot of that anger is easy to monetize, uh, and leads to it
right,
being lucrative to be angry about these things.
yeah. It
So
tends to be a loud minority too. Like it
again, talking in
seems
those absolutes of
right,
this is
right.
the worst. Hasbro sucks. This is the worst
Eh,
company ever, the worst franchise ever, the worst
And
toy.
yeah, these can be the same folks too that they then see a reveal that's exactly what they wanted, and they're back to singing Hasbro's praises and naming their children after them, and then you know the next reveal they're back to
Without even reference to how they were great last week.
right,
It's just no. I've
yeah,
always said they were a horrible company. They're doing the wrong things.
right,
And
and
we look at stuff like I was talking with someone about the Ollie's mentality
oh yeah,
of I'm not going to support it now. I'm not going to get it now because it'll be at Ollie's because all their junk winds up at Ollie's. And I think the Ollie's period, which was informed by weird supply issues and
oh
trying
yeah,
to deal with a weird situation in the world through order numbers, that's over. Like I'm not seeing
yeah,
anything new come into Ollie's
or Ross,
or
yeah,
Ross. Any of those downstream stores are not getting what they got in that period when the cliche of well you can find it here for $5 at Ross. Well, it's not happening anymore because they've cranked those production numbers back and to use that as a pejorative to go, well, it's a piece of junk because it wound up at Ross or wound up at Ollie's. No, there's still
right,
great because you're still buying it, aren't you? You're buying it when it winds up there because it's still a good toy. It's just the
yeah,
circumstances of production got it to that point as a final way to clear that inventory.
right. There's a lot of different factors at play there, and I will say when it comes to the Star Wars the Vintage Collection Facebook group, we do our best to have a healthy, positive, constructive community, and um, we have rules that absolutely um, disallow clearance vulture behavior, promotion, or any of that sort. So we certainly want people to spend their money however they want, but we do also need to realize that we should be supporting the line and the health of the line, and also again expressing what we want in a positive way. So we have a lot of different rules to just make sure, again, we're promoting the just good behavior, good collecting. Um, so we
Yeah,
do not tolerate that.
it's weird that people can't reconcile, it's not universal positivity about everything. It's
Right.
just constructive criticism.
Yeah.
And it's how you're presenting it. Like,
Yeah.
don't be a jerk about it. You don't have to be a jerk about it. You can be disappointed in a thing and not be a jerk to each other or to the thing, or just
Yeah.
try and actively try and understand why things are the way they are, or could have happened, or well, why is that doesn't look like, because they probably got access to early production art 2 years out, and yeah, they changed the hair when they got to set. It happens.
Yeah. I can't tell you the amount of moderation and private messaging I've had to try to advise people that are very angry and upset that it's not how you feel, right? It's not your perspective, it's how you reacted to it and how you addressed it. So it's we joke sometimes that we are also like Star Wars TVC therapists in the group, and we're trying to talk people off the ledge. And
Right, which when
it's
you set up a fun forum to talk toys is not the job that you
the
thought you were going to
intention.
do.
Right. And I can say, some people that, have been pretty awful have become, friends. So putting differences aside and respecting one each other and uh, again, it's let's put things in perspective here. This is a hobby. These are collectible toys. I'll put both words together. They're not toys, they're not collectibles, they're collectible
Yeah,
toys. Not just toys. Um,
they're
but
toys that you
yeah,
formalized.
right, right, right. Um, so anyways, yeah, I do think though, we do want the line to be as successful as possible. And we hope again that, being passionate and constructive and how things maybe could be different or improved could help the success of the line and, allow more budget and, more spend to correct the things that we hope get corrected or fixed or
And also address that, when I see the people really acting against the kid lines, it's like,
yeah,
well, you realize we're all going to die off. This is a shrinking collector base unless you're going to
right,
actively grow it, and the only way to actively grow it is not with super articulated toys that no child should be near because of safety issues. That's
right,
not fun if they're losing accessories and breaking off limbs because they're not playthings. They need their entry point. Like we had our entry point, and that's how they become the collectors we've become. Not by, holding your hand against their head going, no, 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 no. Everything for us, nothing for you. Maybe you'll grow into our adult collectibles. That's not how you keep it healthy and keep it sustainable.
right. Yeah. I mean, there's got to be different ways to get kids into, collecting and toys. And I know they've had a lot of different kids lines. I don't know what that means. I don't know if they're just constantly trying to keep things fresh or they're trying to figure out
And they're
ways
just as
to
much
bring
trying to
them in.
figure it out as possible. I mean,
Right.
they see
Right.
the health and the need in that. And
Yeah.
kid market's so fractured. Who knows what kids
Right.
play with or interested in? No one knows until it hits. Otherwise, every toy line would be successful right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have daughters. My youngest got sucked into the HasLab love with me. She got sucked into the barge, and it made her a Return of the Jedi fan. She only wanted to watch the first 30 minutes of Return of the Jedi. Um, and then she became a Grogu fan, and now she just likes makeup and her iPad and phone. So I'm losing her. I hope I'll get her back someday.
But you
But
won't know that because you know how you were. So
right,
you know
that's
what the
true.
emotional
That's
connections
true.
are. So in the future, when she goes, Dad, you're gonna give me that barge, right?
I,
Like, can I have the barge?
I never thought about that. That is, oh, that's good stuff,
Yeah,
Ken.
yeah, because you don't know what their internal discussion is, their internal thoughts about the thing is. They're exploring as they're maturing all these other things, but that
I-
emotional core that persists.
yeah.
Otherwise, eBay would have taken off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny looking back at some of this stuff. I've tried to get them into my music, 90s rock. Um, and that didn't really work. Um,
Have you had the thing where they've discovered something on their own and come back to you? Go, have you heard this song? And you're like,
uh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, I have. You like
Yes,
this one?
my oldest is starting to do that, so there's some hope. One thing that they did get really into that my wife blames a collecting gene, was the Squishmallow craze and chasing Squishmallows. So I was literally driving them from, you know, Costco to TJ Maxx to Walmart to, you know, we were doing
And
Squishmallow runs.
and you can't say a thing. You can't criticize it. You can't
No.
go, why are we doing this? Like,
Yeah. What does that one cost?
yeah, I
Yeah.
can't be a
Yeah.
hypocrite. I can't.
Yeah. And I was quite proud. I 2 years ago I got to, one of my bucket list items, San Diego Comic Con, and I got two of the exclusive Squishmallows at the Jazzwares, right? Yeah, the Jazzwares booth. So
Did
I
you have
was
that moment where they just put their hand on your shoulder and went, good job, Deb?
I felt, yeah, felt like I had finally earned their respect.
And now you're going to give me that barge, right?
Right, right. Um, someday. But yeah, so it's I'm always in awe of people who, their kids are deep into that interest with them. And then sometimes I do feel better when I hear people say, I tried, didn't work. It didn't work. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
You also don't want him to resent it. Like, oh, he just never stopped talking about Star Wars all the time.
right, right, right. Yeah, yeah. Having a 15 year
He'd be
old,
in
I
there with his model trains or with his stamp collection or with his,
yeah,
and I think he cared more about that than me.
right, right. Yeah, my 15-year-old, she's getting to that age where, like, I gotta be cool. Dad, you gotta be cool around
If
people.
I see my
Um
dad rearrange the cantina one more time,
right.
I don't
Um
care who's in there, Dad. I don't care.
and I'll just say, right, looking at my house and the space available, I got a great partially finished basement that I would love to someday completely Star Wars Star Wars it out. Um maybe someday that's an option, but also I feel like I need more of a private space to Star Wars out, like a space that, people aren't going to walk into. I don't know. Maybe I'm one of those that just cares too
So you're
much
getting a
about it,
separate
but
house, is what I'm hearing. You're
exactly. Maybe I'll build a little Star Wars cottage, a little hut
yeah.
behind the house to enjoy it all.
It'll be like
So
Rancho Obi-Wan. You're gonna
exactly. Exactly. But yeah, like I said, I'm always in awe of, even the it's just it takes over their house, and it's a proud thing. It's great.
yeah. Well, you're gonna start having like the Star Wars corridors in the house leading.
Oh man. I know you see some of those extravagant houses with just the
Have the movie
whole
constantly playing in the room.
right, right movie constantly playing. There's a real size Han and Carbonite and
Yeah, your movie
um
watching seats are the cockpit seats from the Millennium
right,
Falcon.
right. They got an entire corridor of
Sometimes I
the Death
wear
Star.
Han's headset when I'm watching a movie.
Right. Yeah, and like they have the Death Star literally like a whole section of their house. It's
Every
amazing.
10 minutes it fires.
Yeah, good stuff. It's been a fun geez, I think I've been doing this now for almost 30 years. So, uh, I am enjoying what's happening right now with, obviously I'm primarily a TVC collector. I have some hot toys. Um, what else do I have? I do have some helmets, a couple Black Series here and there. And I'm trying to just, figure out how to put it all together in a meaningful way and start to really build out some dioramas. So,
Pun intended. I caught it. Well, we should start your list.
oh man.
So we've given you plenty of lead up to it. This is going to be your number five. We're counting down to one.
All
So, and
right.
remember, this is just in the moment. There's no stress on this.
Oh, all right. Hold on. Let me, um, do you have an episode out there of Year Five?
It was discussed, I think, in the first couple of episodes. I
All
chose what
right.
my five
Well,
were,
I'm gonna have to go back to
and it has
that.
been a couple of years since then.
All right. My number five, I believe in October. I don't quote me, everybody. I forget if it was October of 2020 or 21. I was on my lunch break. Can I have a little story time with? All
This is
right.
your moment to build up, unless you're
This is my
trolling.
moment. So I was on my lunch break. I was talking with a friend and I was actually holding my phone and I had an Instagram notification pop up with Hasbro Pulse revealing VC 186. Oh, hold on a second. Don't follow my face. Um, VC 186, Return of the Jedi, Boba Fett. Um, Again, I'm a modern collector. I love definitive versions of figures. And this is, I think, in my opinion, one of the most amazing figures they've developed from a engineering, sculpting, and paint deco perspective.
Do
The
you
Holy Trinity.
do you feel that that was a level up to what they'd been doing prior?
That period of time, they were
Because that
they
was
were
also when
firing.
the face printing was really taking
Yes,
hold, right?
that's really where they were firing on all cylinders. I've talked to my friend a lot about this, Chris Swansky from Bantha Skull, where, there was this articulation and range of motion that they had captured where elbows were bending beyond 90 degrees and so were their knees. The deco was at its premium. I mean, you look at things like the Boba Fett's Slave One or Starship, whatever, Fire Spray or whatever you want to call it these days. The deco on it is absolutely over the top. It's excessive. And nowadays we're
Oh, you
begging
got the
for more
re-release of
paint
the
deco
Millennium
again.
Falcon.
Yeah, and I'm speaking to the one that was the Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett release. Um, that one, the deco, I believe, was, you know,
Do you,
expanded on.
considering what we've seen since for
Yeah.
cost issues or whatever the calculus is that's leading to it, do you think that was the high water when it came to paint applications and going all in, and we've seen some of those things be eroded away since then?
Yeah, we're certainly seeing that, and I think they are addressing that in creative ways. So,
Teaching everyone
whether
to do a wash at home.
I know, it is unfortunate at times that you have to, get out the paint set, but um
The
I
thing
hope
exists. It does
it
exist.
exists. It exists, and I think, I hope they're again thinking of either innovative ways or creative ways to help do that. Just like, the photo reel type stuff, right? How can we think of ways to do this without it being as costly or without needing humans to, apply it? So time will tell, but yeah, we maybe there's more deluxe and more characters with play sets and vehicles and creatures to cost out and budget in, the deco and premium accessories and all of that stuff.
But if that
So
Boba Fett was released today, they would have done that as a deluxe release first. Do you feel right?
yeah, it would have been a deluxe, and it potentially could have had some not as many, I mean, amazing paint apps as this. Stop, stupid. Um, but again, the amount of paint breaks on this figure is just um
And they got a
ridiculous.
lot of reuse out of it.
A lot of reuse, yeah. I do hope they do a Empire Strikes Back version, and even a pre-Boba Fett version too. Forgetting the exact name right now, it's escaping me. The one with the brown gloves with the black dots and the different deco on the helmet. Oh my God, I'm forgetting things right now. But anyways, I hope they give Empire Strikes Back the same treatment. I know some of those figures I think were more in his outfit from the Empire Strikes Back, or the nuances of that outfit. Um, but again, it's nice that we have them.
Well, I'm
So
curious what next year's beat is going to be once we move beyond Tatooine.
yeah, they talked about a new era. Um, yeah, I'm
Which
really
could mean
curious.
anything. I mean, that's
It
so
could
vague.
mean anything. Yeah. Yeah, there has been a lot of noise lately, and for prequel era, a lot of the stuff they've seen with Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor. Who knows what it's going to be? Could be something animated. I don't know. Um,
But the Tatooine, it was unique to have the cantina be able to be a centerpiece because you had so many of the things that have been ancillary releases to that
yeah,
be things like that poster shows that you're setting up that entire world that all could be captured within that because they all exist in that space. So it all
right.
felt cohesive. And I don't know what you really get beyond that that is that easy to tie so many releases into.
Yeah, I think
Are we getting a new
that's
General Regan? Is what I'm saying. Are we getting?
right. Right. Yeah. Um, and I think that's, what they've talked about is really, the timing of things and making sure that when we plan things, we have um, world building things that revolve around them, right? Whether that's a HasLab, a play set, a vehicle, um, whatever, that we also have the world building figures that go around it. So I'm curious to see, right? If they're saying, hey, we're going to a new era. So that's what they're doing now. They're picking a theme for the year and going to put a decent amount of, offerings to that. Um, so some of the breakdown I did as well with this analysis for the year, you know, I think there's 30, for don't quote me, but 31 or 32 OT figures. But, you
But they don't
know,
do any OT figures anymore. They hardly do them.
but 17 of them are existing.
But and I don't understand sometimes the vitriol that people have for re-releases
Right. Well,
because it is so hard to get so many figures.
yeah.
And again, that entry point, like there are people that
Yes.
ordered the Cantina last year because they maybe just got into it or they finally made that splurge.
Mhm.
That, yeah, I get it. You got Ponda Baba when he came out. A lot of people didn't get Ponda Baba. It's fine for Ponda Baba to come back out for the people who did. You don't need to get angry. It's taken up a slot. If I hear the words, it's taken up a slot one more
Right.
time,
Yeah.
it's like
I
just relax and understand that you're not the only person in the
right.
hobby.
Right. I it's tough because there's figures that have not been released for a long time, longer than that people would love to see, right? Some of those legacy collection Cantina figures.
But do we know the calculus on that?
Correct. Correct. But people don't think logically, rationally. at
We need a
all.
master
So
list. Just Hasbro, tell us what molds you still
what
have.
is
Just tell us
available?
what
And
exists.
I think that's an important thing for people in the community, or influencers in the community, to help provide. Like, hey, here's a list of viable figures, and if here's a list of ones that could use some slight tweaking. Right? There was the Battle Droid troop builder set that came out, and they had updated the legs to be able to be more, for the figure to be able to stand better, pose better. But they missed on providing that,
The
you
wrist.
know, the wrist articulation, or at least posing capability, so the figure could actually hold the blaster like it does in the movie, in
And if you
the
just want him
movies.
waving, then he's fine.
He's fine. Yeah. So, again, it's that, what can we do to help Hasbro? Um, so let's get ahead of it instead of reacting to it. Um, but yeah,
Which is what
that's my
things like Last Figure
yeah.
Standing and March Madness
Yes.
and
Well, and for me saying, there's a lot of existing OT figures. All I'm saying that too is there's a crowd of people saying there's too much OT this year. And when you peel it all away, right, they're trying to, number one, they're trying to, solve an issue that they've had in the past, where they didn't put enough offerings around something. Like when they released the barge, there wasn't a lot of offerings, um, to go with the barge. I think they only re-released the Gamorrean Guard, Leia Bausch, and maybe a couple other things. And then it took a while for them to bring stuff back in, and it was almost, I don't want to say it's never too late, but they missed that timing with it, and to really help the sales, right, and help
but
them.
also the line was just coming back at that
Right,
time too. So I'm
right.
sure there was a lot of what are we doing? What's going on? What's the plan?
Yeah, yeah. Um, then there was the carbonite uh chamber, right?
The set specific,
This, yeah, the
the
set,
soundstage
and
specific.
right. And there wasn't much offerings around that. And
The fact that we still don't have Ugnaughts
I know we
is
need some
kind of
Ognaughts.
weird.
I'm an alien guy. I'm an alien and Jabba Goons guy, and I would love to see some Ugnaughts, please.
Or just release some like apron packs for those quill figures. Whatever
I
you want to do.
know there's some creative people in the community that are like, if they do still have, they can take Queel and overlay some aprons and and whatnot
Give him a
over him,
lunchbox.
partial
Whatever.
give him a lunchbox. Add some horns or some pick up,
Some tusks. So
there's
yeah.
some tusks. That's it. But yeah, so going back to the OT thing, really quick to wrap that up is, look, we've gotten 4 or 5 newly tooled figures. Everything else has been partial tools and existing figures. Most of the line is still, you know, dedicated to newer media offerings to again have balance. There's a mix, have balance, bring newer collectors in, bring, I think, kids into it, and also keep all the different groups happy. So,
And also know
um,
that clearly all this stuff has been in flux. And there's been a lot of rejiggering of the line. You could tell over the past year.
yeah,
There's been a lot of rethinks, a lot of refocus, a lot of curveballs that have been thrown with media
yeah,
being shifted when its release date was, and suddenly, but also you have a sort of clearing of the landscape with the pullback on streaming to have a bit of a
right,
breather. That is why the lines that everyone talks about as golden ages, like the anniversary line, the 30th
yeah,
anniversary line, only existed because Star Wars was in a quiet period.
very true.
It didn't
Yeah,
have
good memory.
Clone Wars. Clone Wars
Right.
was about to hit and take over the toy lines, but you had a healthy breather post Revenge of the Sith to go, okay, now we can focus entirely on let's fill this out in an economic landscape that doesn't exist anymore because you don't have those big box stores now to support a line like that. So
Yeah. Great
So
point,
it's
Ken.
remarkable what we're getting, and I'm interested to see where it goes over the next year when we have this breather period.
Yeah, good point. And just to go back to this Boba Fett, it was exciting, and you reminded me, part of my story was it was exciting because this wasn't what do you call it when they present figures that are coming into the future, their
Pipeline.
pipeline. They had their pipe, they didn't pipeline it. It wasn't ruined by any leaks. They dropped it on Instagram. And part of the excitement for me with that was I was actually looking at my phone when I saw the notification come up. I had to get off the phone. I was catching up with a friend. I said, "Oh, I gotta go. I gotta go. I don't know if this is real. I gotta go." And went to that post
But this is an
on
emergency.
oh,
I need you to call for help.
right. And that was part of why this is one of my, Force 5 was it was just an exciting announcement release. It caught everyone by surprise. And then it turned out to be a truly phenomenal figure. I think we got it in like maybe March of the next year. And I don't know, I have too many. I have them
Yeah, how
everywhere.
many do you have?
A lot. I have a lot. I also have them graded. I have the one with that didn't have the radar or the what are the jeez, I can never think when I'm on these things. The
Digital display.
the digital display there. I'm forgetting the exact names. So I got that one graded, one without it graded. I have one without the Wookiee braids graded. Um, and I also maybe one of my well, why don't we
You want to move on to
no,
number four?
no, I'm gonna wait. But
Okay.
we'll get to that one.
Is there
But yeah,
anything in looking at that Boba Fett that you would go, but here's what I would like a 2.0 of that to look at like? Here's what the next version I wish they would address.
everyone loves the barbell hips. I love the new barbell hips. Do I do want to be cautious with those sometimes because I feel like it gaps the legs a little too much between the crotchular region and the hip. Um, lower torso, I'll use that terminology. Lower torso, John.
Yeah, the
Um,
medical term.
um, but obviously that does give a better range of motion. So I would say that would be a great thing to add to this, and then a also needs a more articulated rangefinder that's not fixed. Um, but yeah, again, pretty amazing figure, and I'm so happy we have it.
See, why can't people be happy? So happy to hear that you're happy.
Yeah, man. Um, number four.
I think we're going on to number four.
Ooh,
Field is tightening.
oh man.
Judgments are being made.
All right. Well,
Someone out there is yelling
I,
Simalu.
I'm gonna I'm gonna keep the Fett theme going. It's a bit of a theme. It's a problem. It's a sickness. Um, again, one of my favorite figures as a kid as well. Favorite characters, obviously, too. Well, I'll just say this: like Luke is everything to me, but there was
What's
always something.
and it's like, I mean, that's going to spoil something. Is there a definitive era of Luke that is your Luke?
Do you mean like
I mean,
oh
Luke is your favorite character. Do you have a version of Luke that is your absolute
yeah,
favorite?
Return of the Jedi?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yep. Um, so I I don't have a Force 5 Luke. I'm sorry, Luke. I love
So
you.
really, not your favorite.
Favorite character, maybe not the favorite figure. I'm still waiting for that. I am looking right now at the Hot Toys Deluxe Luke in my cabinet, and it is quite an amazing figure. But I digress. I'm showing here, uh, of course, the Kenner Boba Fett. This is the Taiwan version. Great story about this. A lot of mine revolve around stories. Um, I had a buddy during COVID who said, "Hey, I'm at my parents' house. I have found all of my Star Wars items as a kid. do you want them? And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You should keep them. And he's like, I know you would appreciate these way more than I ever would. And I was like, yeah, sure. You're amazing. I will absolutely take your Star Wars figures. Now, I'm sitting there thinking these are probably all beat up and they're probably all trashed. And he brought over his Darth Vader case. I mean, it had like an inch of grime and dust on it. Um, and
The full attic special.
the full attic, it might have been in like their garage, which they're a mechanic family. It had like this like oil and gasoline feel to it. But I pulled out it's a mint Taiwan Fet. And I just
With the blaster.
I couldn't believe it. Now this blaster is actually the V5 um blaster that I had from another Kenner Boba Fett that I got in England in 2000 when I was visiting family. Not when I was going to the car boots, when I went to the actual a collector store out there. Um, so I did have to put a proper blaster.
Okay.
He lost the V5 blaster on that one. We'll give him a pass on that.
Yeah.
But
She just pushed the figures back and I went, you know what? If they're not complete, I don't want them.
I found so many great things in there and a lot of different accessories. It was really cool. A bunch of other mint figures too, but like this must have been the active end of his collecting days because it was, I mean, mint compared to many
It's
other things.
fun
Or
finding accessories, right?
oh man, I
Like I bought
found
a
so many.
secondhand Darth Vader case, and I did the thing that you always do. You open
Ah,
up the little
yes,
door.
the doors.
There was a loose blaster in there that they didn't know was in there because they would have taken it out. This was a shop that would have taken it out for their other stuff.
Ah,
There it was. Also, a friend gave me their Star Wars stuff. Heard a rattling in the TIE fighter. Managed to find Luke Skywalker's green lightsaber rattling around
ah,
inside the thing.
wow. I do need one of those for my Luke. My
It
Luke.
was quite a
Um,
find.
That's amazing. Yeah, there was a ton of accessories. There was even the vinyl like soft skirt for the snow trooper. Um mint. I got one of those. I was like, "Oh, I have a snow trooper without the vinyl skirt. This is perfect." Um there was so many things in that little case. And it just meant so much to me that, my a buddy, gave up his, child, nostalgic memories because he knew they were going to a perfect home
Who would appreciate it?
that would appreciate it, So
Otherwise,
I'm
that case
still
would have wound up in another garage.
right.
Just
And
sitting
again,
there.
I'm just shocked when I was like this.
Or
I was
sold
like,
for a pretty penny. I mean,
I was like,
he would have made a decent amount of money back, I'm
I
sure,
told
on it.
him, I was like, Matt, I just want you to know this is like a $200 figure. You know,
He's like, you're
um,
buying me dinner.
I took him out to dinner. We went to one of those seafood places that brings like a shovel of I forgot what they're called, but a shovel of
Like
seafood out
scallops
to you.
or
Yeah,
the oh
crap.
the right the seafood bake kind of thing.
Yes, like the
Yeah.
potatoes and the shellfish, the crab, the mussels, the clams, everything, shrimp. Um,
And he got the senior discount.
right. Yeah. So,
You ate it
um,
four.
anytime I'm out with him, I'm buying him a drink and, cheers to him and to his good health because it's pretty amazing to do, Again, there was probably a good sum of money in that thing, and he knew I wasn't ever gonna, let anyone take it from me, or I wasn't gonna, pawn it off. So,
Even if your child asks for it with the barge, it's not going anywhere.
all right, Force 3. Oh man.
Getting hard? Is it getting harder? Does it feel
Um,
harder? Or
I
or
just
or or is the number one starting to emerge from what's left?
All right. I think I got it. I think I got it.
Okay.
All right. All right.
We'll know in a second when we're down to two and you're really struggling. But for right now,
All right.
number three.
We're gonna keep on the Fett theme, and I'm really sorry. Um,
What are you, Dan Larson?
all right. So I also am a fan of variants and errors.
That's
And
the best Fed sculpt they've ever done, by the way.
if this was the normal version of Boba Fett, that would be me. This would be me. Um, so this is an error I got from Randy from Bantha Skull, great guy. Um, yeah, he got this from Hasbro Pulse. Um, I got it graded. It's quite
Now,
amazing.
now is that when the that sort of the loose glue bubble era?
No, that was the first year ish of
Was that like
2.0,
2019?
18 into 19.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. This
So that
this
thing's stuck on
um
there tight.
this is
There's no
this will
one
tell
mistaking
me
that.
um well I can look at FET here too. Uh yeah, 21. So that was 2021 after they had rectified that, and poor Steve had to like apologize to everybody, which he didn't have to. Um so yeah, this is again, it's part of my collection of again with the radar or whatever. Um the one without it, the no Wookiee braids, and
But now,
him as
do you
well.
think there's a Zutton card back out there with a Boba Fett on it?
I know somebody, I believe there is. There is that one, and there's also a Boba Fett on the Mandalorian card. On one of the Din Djarin cards.
That's an easier to understand
Right,
mistake.
right.
Or even
Because yeah,
visually, if you're doing QC as you're packing up boxes to, to go, oh yeah, that looks right.
yeah, yeah. So this is again, this is
So
just
how do they grade variants like that when it's a clear error? Is it still just what is the state of the card and the state of the figure in it? And
right. Yeah, they judge the card condition, the
so then they
blister.
knock off, do they deduct
Um,
anything because it is an error?
no, because they identified it as Boba Fett dash Zutton miscard. Yeah. And it's just funny, right? Because he's got his little tray too. I mean, he's in his tray and everything with his gun and you know it all. So, um, Zutton
Boba
Fett.
Fett season two. We'll get that story.
I I am all for that. Again, anything Jabba related, give it to me. Give it to me. Um, so yeah, that's a fun one. I love teasing some friends with it too because there's some other friends who are miscard collectors. Like shout out to Tim from Bosk's Bounty. He's always asking me like, "Hey, you gonna sell that to me now or what?" So, um, but yeah, so that's my number
Number
three.
three.
All
So now
right,
it's getting now this is really the decision making time. Now, do you want to take a beat and maybe pull in like an honorary mention that you might have selected as a way to sort of buffer out this hard
ooh,
decision for you?
yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
I think that would be nice. Um, I, this is just, I think this era of Power of the Force 2 was a really cool era where they were really starting to make, um, the sculpting was really improving and a lot of, the paint apps as well. Um, and I love this Vader with the removable helmet. Um, is it clear? I know I should probably take it out of this.
Yeah, it's not graded yet.
It's not great. It's fine. Um, I absolutely
We got a
love
Sebastian
this
Shaw.
figure, and it's one of the oldest figures in my collection that I didn't open and then give away when a more definitive version came out. So it holds a special place because of that reason.
So why is that?
Um,
Why did it remain in package for so long?
I just well, I mean, I had a loose one as well, but I always just for some reason loved the way this figure was presented from obviously Darth Vader, Sebastian Shaw exposed there, damaged, right? Battle damaged Vader. The way the helmet is on the card in the corner. He's holding his saber. There was again just something about this figure, the accessories, the removable helmet that I was just so drawn to. And then that scene,
Yeah, you got your
the
freeze
scene
frame.
with it's got the freeze frame in that moment with Luke telling him that he's not leaving him there.
and
Um,
and Anakin going, I'm laying on a piece of metal. Could you shift my
yeah,
yeah, this
right,
hurts my
right.
back.
I'm gonna save you, Luke. You already have. It's like
You're full of it, Luke. You barely dragged me here.
um, again, like this is just one of those. I always thought it was a really cool figure, especially at the time. Um, and yeah, it's I love it.
And he's got
Some
the
things you just
eyebrows,
can't
right?
explain. Yeah, yes, I forgot about that. They took those out, right? Oh my God, we forget about those things because all the
Kids
edits they've
today just don't
made.
know. They just don't know. They don't know about the eyebrows. They don't know.
He's even got them on the back.
I mean, so when you look at that, and I have a good friend that's been on the show. I think the first guest on the show, Joseph Scrimshaw, was the first guest, and we talked. He is completely an inbox collector. He does not open because he
Wow.
sees them as works of art. The presentation, how they're
Yeah,
situated in the package, what the packaging looks like, and once you open it up, you remove that sort of in situ how it's displayed.
yeah,
If there's a dynamic display to it or the fun of it. Like I look at the 30th anniversary ones; those are hard to cross that line of opening up because you're really tearing up the artwork also when you're opening those up because so much of that the bubble intersects with the artwork on
yeah,
those. And
yeah,
I'm someone who will carefully remove the bubble and I'll keep card backs. Just because
yeah.
they're little
Oh yeah.
slices in time, and to have like the price stickers on it, to look at what the Kmart price was for a Power of the Force 2 figure.
Absolutely. I had purchased a carded Yoda at one point, and it had the KB. Was it? Oh, now I'm forgetting what if it was KB or Child World. Anyways, it had one of those stores that I used to go to, and it meant so much to me. I ended up moving on from it because I do want to eventually get one that's just in better condition. But I love that stuff too, Ken. And I cut all my I am a one carded, one loose, sometimes eight others carded as well. Um, but I cut my figures all off, and I did see how you your different methods for taking them off that you spoke to with Emily. I will admit sometimes we do this one-handed bubble crush and twist. I'm really sorry, but it it has a little
To
fun.
each their own. To each their own.
Um, but most of the time,
Also,
and
if
now
you're
the
opening seven of the same figure, then it's
you
fine.
can you can choose both
Yeah.
methods. But the glue now is so strong, and the blisters are on it so strong. It's kind of hard to do the
Well, you've
bubble
seen
crush and twist.
you've seen the more recent one with the heating, right?
Yes,
Yeah. So
it
that
gets a little hard, right? You said it still leaves some.
it looks a lot better.
Oh, okay.
It I find that it's the bottom edges is where the glue is at its strongest at the bottom of the bubble.
Okay, yeah.
So once you get it started, though, it's basically because I'm heating from underneath with the heat gun and moving it over it and using a letter opener to basically,
Yes.
like if you're looking at this figure, so it's going in and I have the heat gun going underneath and you're just lifting it up as each section
Yeah.
is heated and working your way around, making the turn. And this is
Yeah.
as you're just moving it back and it's doing the lift as you're moving around it. And because you can't do
Awesome.
it this way because it melts that plastic too fast with the
Yeah, and
least amount of heat.
I'll say I got my
Yeah, those
yeah.
those proof cards.
It's just the when I cut them off.
Oh, you cut on. So how do you do the shear? How sheer do you get the cut?
I try to take, depends on how I'm feeling that day and if I just want to rip it off, or I just take an X-Acto knife or a small um my brother's given me a couple of his like deer skinning knives, and I just go right down to the where the bubble meets
So as
the
flat
the,
as possible.
the adhesive, so try to get it as flat as possible.
Now, do you do a spacer in between? Like if you were to rub your hand across it, is there a rough where you can feel like it would scratch a card
Yeah.
that was laying on top of it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not perfect with it.
I mean, you're
I just cut
preserving
them off.
the artwork entirely with it,
Yeah.
so that is the
Yeah.
benefit of it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
probably the approach that I would take if I wanted to preserve like those 30th anniversary cards as
Yeah.
much as possible, because even the heat and lift, the glue was different, and it's a real crapshoot as far as is it so old that it's going to be easier for this to work, or is it so old that it's uh, really attached to it? How many cantinas did you get?
A lot. A few. I've sold a couple ghosts without the figures. So I kept a couple sets. I opened one. I wanted one carded. I still have another one,
Did you figure out your
but
display for the ghost? Do you have a spot for it?
I have them on a guitar stand right now in the corner. Um,
The
but
Bosk
I think
the Bosk Bounty Tim technique.
yeah. I think I've been doing it just as long as Mr. Bosk's Bounty. But I have my
He's made more
Falcon.
videos about it, so he's claimed. Is that the law of YouTube? If you make a
Oh,
video about it, then
Tim.
it's
I'll bust his chops during last figure standing. But yeah, I have it next to my Millennium Falcon, it's my Ghost, and then I have my Razor Crest on like a coffee table
so.
next
Where
to
do
me.
you stand on the idea of what you would like for another
Ooh.
HasLab? Because I
Um,
do think that the space concern is a genuine concern.
it is. It is. Just want to show one more here. So cool that we got him.
Shocking, shocking that
Shocking.
that exists.
And I'm very happy for a few friends that have been wanting him for way longer than I ever have. Um, where do I stand? I'm a figure first person. There was a period in my life where I wasn't collecting vehicles. I didn't have the space um, or the financing to focus on them. I'm feel very blessed and fortunate to be able to now. Um, so I would love to see some kind of figure dream pack, and I kind of waffle between what I'd want to see for a figure dream pack. Is it
Right.
more like obscure background characters like Simaloo, or um, characters that might not be as
Yeah, the get off our
viable?
backs pack.
They should they should they should ask you to use that. Absolutely. Um, yeah, there's, I think a decent amount of figures that might not be viable at retail that, would help round out people's collections. I can think of a few goons that can be added to that like Yatzer Ren and
I mean, I would
you
think
know,
the perfect way to, with one fell swoop, deal with the Bad Batch issue
that's another
is
one.
have the
Have a
HasLab
focused.
be the season two. And that introduces the tooling you'd need to go back and fill in the season one as standard releases. So you're not getting that weird thing of, but we already got Crosshair and Hunter, and why are we going to get the rest that would be locked behind a HasLab? No, it's the
Yeah.
season two versions that are the HasLab that unlocks the ability to do the
I
standard.
I just feel like the only problem I have, well, it's not a problem, but I think Bad Batch is very viable at retail. So
But we're still going to be getting those first season out. And also, you
still
get the one,
trickling, you're trickling it.
yeah,
Yeah.
every 3 years we'll get another one.
I know.
And
I'm all
also the kid
for
characters. What about a kid pack? So you got
a
Omega,
skeleton
you got
crew.
young Leia, you've got young Boba Fett. All these kids are not getting releases, but you need to fill out your displays.
Yeah, I'm all for any type of theme, whether it's, a
But
bunch of
get off
supporting
our backpack
characters.
is the one that is the
Get
front
off
runner
our
right now.
pack. Yeah, I mean, I even think of like, could we get a Rogue One theme pack, or now an Andor theme pack, or I absolutely loved season one and season two of Andor, so I'd be game for some figures of that, and I don't think might not be viable at retail.
But what is viable at retail even mean anymore?
It's very true.
I mean, that's the one major component of all of these discussions that external from internal Hasbro calculus, none of us know what viable at retail means.
Right.
I mean, that's, so we can make these lists, we can make these suggestions, we can say why they haven't done this or why did they do that instead. But, whatever these conversations and arguments that are happening behind closed doors,
Yeah,
we'll
you're
never, and that's why, again, I can't get angry about anything that's going on because we don't know. It's not a complete picture to be able to go, why'd they do that? Well,
it, yeah, it does go back to there's so many factors that come into play from, again, it timing of how you're releasing things with vehicles and play sets and world building items, to how many things are you processing at one time, right? We had that issue last year where we were last year, the year before, where we were backing the Ghost that was processing while a case assortment was processing. The N1, Mando's N1 was processing. The
oh
book
yeah,
of
that end
Boba,
of that year was ridiculous.
the book of Boba Fett throne room was processing, and one of my Force 5 figures in a multi-pack was also processing. And that'll just
Is
segue
that the
us
segue?
into
Uh,
my number two is Velkin Tazeri.
which also was one of those. I mean, I love the irony of a lot of these reveals because usually they'll happen around March Madness or Last Figure Standing when everyone has made a big. We really want. We're never gonna get it. They're never gonna do this thing. It's never gonna happen. It's so obscure. This is so. They're gonna get another Mando. We're never gonna get this. And suddenly the crow eating, the feast of crow that happens immediately after some of these, like the
Yeah.
Asajj Ventress just
Oh,
recently.
yeah. Yeah. I just,
So what about that? Besides the fact
okay.
that you probably never thought it would happen anytime soon.
So I never thought it would happen. And I was so excited. I think they revealed it maybe during, was it like a Pulse Con or something? No. What was it revealed at? It might have been a
Was it
European
San Diego?
convention. Might have been a European convention or something. Um,
Oh, didn't
the
we also have a spring celebration that year?
It could have been at that. Yeah, it could have been at that. For me, what's exciting is like I've mentioned,
So it's like Boba Fett.
I
It's like when the Boba Fett dropped for you.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I was like out and about, and people started pinging me about this one. Um, the excitement of this one for me is I am such a big, again, Return of the Jedi. That was the movie, Temple of Doom and Return of the Jedi were pretty sure ripped off of HBO and watched many, 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 many times over. So this figure for me, I was with a lot of other people, right, that wanted to complete the prisoner skiff and just get Velkin Tazeri made. Um, and at one point, uh, I started a petition on change.org and we got around 1,500 signatures. And
$900 of them are yours.
I'm not, yeah, yeah. I
No,
made my,
seriously, I do want this.
I made my family create 15 accounts and sign up. But I'm not saying it attributed to him being made, but it definitely was one of the things that Hasbro recognized as, a contributing factor
It was
to
in the
to
discussion.
well, yeah, in the discussion to help push him across, um,
And if you had
the finish
told
line to be made.
yourself as a kid, hey, Velkin Tazeri is the character you're really going to fixate on in the future. This is going to be the one. It's going to be so exciting for you. Don't look at me like that. It's
Yeah. And what's great is the card game where
right.
Velkin got his name. The person who named him, it's their person, I'm sorry, their name. Is it
Oh,
like an anagram or
jumbled up.
something?
Yeah.
Jumbled up. And we found him on Facebook and he joined the TVC Facebook group and we sang his praises with this. And I'm sorry I'm forgetting his name right
And did he
now.
get his figure?
Oh, he did. He did, yeah. So this one has a special place in my heart, just again because it's one of those ones you never thought was going to be done. And then a little you know social influencing and getting some people to sign a meaningless petition online helped push him across the finish line. So
See, but you're the one who is a someone that people can look to as a sign of hope that maybe, just maybe, that obscure character that they really, really want will get that release.
yeah, and do it in a constructive, fun, passionate way instead of
Yeah.
yelling and
So you
screaming.
so you can if you're out there, you can finally stop voting for Punkrell. You can finally stop voting for the characters do
Yeah,
happen.
people
Characters
were
do happen.
people were very excited for me to stop talking about him and asking for him.
Well, it must have been nice when filling out your list the following year to not have to worry about it.
Yeah, filling out those lists or even whether it's your top 25 or top 10. Um, what's also refreshing when you're now that I'm administering a fan poll with Last Figure Standing is we hope we see the top 12 that we're going to announce once we tally up all the submissions. We hope the next year those same 12, aren't potential candidates to be back in the top. You know what I mean? We want to see a decent amount of them being checked off. And good news, they are.
Is there any
Um,
figure that you can recall off the top of your head that has been unmade but has been in every single fan poll in a prominent position?
oh, this is where I wish John Lindquist was on from SWTVC.
Want to text him
Um,
and see if he gets back to you
I
before the
know
end of the
he probably
recording?
will. He's so great to get back to me. Um, I know there's figures like for instance, for us, right, Luthen Rael, Asajj Ventress, we can now say
Done.
she's gone. Done. Um, Anakin Skywalker.
But
Trying to
Simalu's still
think
on
what
there.
else.
Simalu is
Yeah.
always
I think that's the thing, and I know Chris has mentioned this, is like people need to rally around somebody. Like if you really want Jackson,
Carson Teva now gets to be
yeah,
moved off.
yeah, moved off. Um,
But then it
you
comes
know,
back because it's like, but it's not the
Joris,
version of Carson that we want. Now it's gotta be this version.
right. But yeah, Joris Sabath is a big one, right? People have been asking for him for years.
Yeah, we
So
don't need to worry about a costume change for him. He's done.
he's gonna keep wearing those sandals.
He,
Um,
he's all about comfort.
I was shocked he had pants underneath. I was like, oh.
So
He's
was
wearing.
he.
Um, yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what and again, I have a dashboard out there for Last Figure Standing, and it's really cool because last year we did an option for you to select your age range. And it's really cool. In the dashboard, you can select your age group, any age group. You can select multiple age groups, and you can see how the interests shift, right?
Right.
The older generations tend to be more OT and Mandalorian based. Then my group becomes OT and a little more. I'm trying to remember Mando and prequel, right? And then it turns to the younger kids and it's prequels, animated, right? Then OT. Uh, so it's so fascinating to see all that and then put that all together to find, okay, if we do a balance of things, what should we focus on in each one? And there's so much data that we've been able to present out there, and
Well, that's
um,
that's what I would love to see the Venn diagram. If you were to
that's a good
show
point.
what are the overlap characters that every single quadrant of this fandom
Yeah,
that everyone seems to want.
yeah, and there were a few, and I can name some of them off the top of my head, and that's what one seemed to come to the surface overall, right? Your Baze Malbus, um, those types of figures, right, from Rogue One.
Do you
I
think it leads to that it's generally ones where they are part of groups that people have already gotten a taste of the rest, so it lingers out there as I just want to finish. We all want to finish
that
this group because we know it exists. We know it can happen because we've gotten members from this group.
that's a huge part of Baze Malbus, right? It's like we need Bodhi and we need Baze to finish the crew, right? But I think Rogue One is also that, you know, if
But you can
anyone
also
does
finish a duo. You don't even need to finish
right,
a crew because you got Cheer So if you just want Cheer and
that's
Bays,
true.
then
Absolutely. Bodhi does not get the love Baze gets, and that's probably because of his boy
right.
chirp.
So as far as
Yeah.
another segment of data that goes into that, then it's well,
Yeah,
if I just want to
yeah,
minimize the base minimum for Bays is just
yeah,
to have him to have Cheer have his buddy.
absolutely. And yeah, so it would be nice to do a little I like that, a little Venn diagram of the intersections of the community where they all align.
Yeah, I think animated slideshows, maybe a little last figure standing mascot that you can introduce. That'll be like a Mr. DNA to come on and talk about.
Dino DNA. Yeah, so where are we? That
That
was
was
that
number
my number
two.
two?
That was number two.
Oh man.
Right? Yeah, because we
So
did the honorable mention
yeah,
before that, and then we segged
yeah.
into your number two.
So my number one to me is just it's very nostalgic to me and very family, you know, family memory based. So this is during Phantom Menace. Um I was starting, I didn't think about this. This could be one of the first variants that really caught my attention other than the random um weird tray and long saber, short saber, all that stuff. Um, this one here, my mom, she's no longer with us, but my mom was a huge supporter of my collecting. I think she looked at me funny sometimes, but she embraced it. She always had, little special surprises from time to time. I think she might have done some bin diving uh, for this one. So this is stupid camera. I'm sorry. This one here uh, is a Darth Maul with a pink chin. Now I haven't looked it up in a long time, um, to see like how much of a variant it really is. But
What does Toy Fair have to say?
I know, he's got this supposedly variant paint deco chin,
So
but my mom,
it's kind of like Fred Flintstone, sort of.
yeah, yeah. Um, it was like the point oh 0.01 or the oh yeah, point oh oh
Did they just not
version variant.
apply the paint at the same levels, or what does it look like?
Yeah, it's like around his horns, there's that pink, and then around, I think, any area that had like a lot of darker
So he just
paint.
had like some sherbet.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah.
You got Darth Sherbert.
Yeah, he might have been, making out with somebody that had lighter makeup or something. Um, but yeah, so this one just means a lot to me because my mom came home excited. Like she was a collector as well. She was part of the collecting and found a potential variant. And I will never give this up. If there's a fire in my house and I did have time to grab one thing, this would be it. Yeah.
Because you also know
So
your daughter would grab the barge.
she would grab the barge. Yeah. And, you know, maybe her makeup first, but that's okay. I'm looking at my
You don't know that
barge over there.
you don't know what's in her heart.
I do have a spare barge in my basement.
Don't even
Um,
start with I don't have a barge. Don't even tell
oh
me about spare
no.
barges.
So I told my wife we should buy another one. Why don't you put it on your card? I'll do it. Give me, and it's her barge, Ken. It's not mine. It's hers. So I bet you she would probably run downstairs and be like, "We gotta get the barge, hurry up. We'll just
Finally,
throw
finally.
it out the basement door." Um,
Can he pick it up?
yeah, yeah.
Get it
So
out, finally.
so yeah, this again, this one means a lot because like, look, my I don't come from a family that's like, yeah, my little brother, we got into Star Wars and stuff, but like I didn't get into Star Wars because my father was into Star Wars.
You
Or
were not
my
guided towards it.
I was not guided towards it. It was part of the pop culture surrounding us, right? That's again, lucky to be in an
You either
era
opened
when all
yourself
this
up to the
stuff was going
force
on.
or you didn't.
Right, right, right. And, she embraced it, like I said, and enjoyed it with me at times. So that meant a lot to me, like regardless of what, and I try to do that with my kids, right? Like again, like running around with squishmallows. Let's do this. Let's find the good ones, the ones you're looking
Yeah,
for.
support the things that they're excited about.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise,
So
you're a Dickensian monster.
right.
So do you have that like displayed on the wall or on a shelf or
Yeah, I have it just kind of, in the corner hanging out with a bunch of stuff, which I am trying to work on better shelving and stuff. I did do the custom TVC cabinet there. That was a fun little custom project that I did with a woodworker and a person on Facebook. He has
so is it a kit?
a action figure cabinet. So he does the vinyl decal. He also sells smaller cabinets, um, but he helped guide me with dimensions and things that I needed to do uh, this one and recommended I find a local cabinet maker.
You know what's it because I would love to have these, and I'm surprised this is not a common thing. Have you seen anybody that does ship specific wall mounts that has actually taken the time to
Oh,
engineer like, hey, this is how it has the cradle to cradle like a TIE fighter or cradle an X-Wing, but it's designed like it seems like there's a great
specifically for
market for
that.
that. Like, here's the
Yeah,
mounting post, find a stud. This is what will actually support
like
this
the
in the specific
lightsaber.
places that yeah,
Yeah.
but it's
Or the
specific
helmet
for
ones.
ships.
Yeah. Why have I feel like I've seen somebody that does something like that, but I don't think to the exact catering and specifications you're speaking to.
You would think it would be at this point so obvious for someone to jump in the customizing community to like latch on like that's my thing. I'm going to come up with ship mounts because
Love
everyone
it.
has a ton of these these
I
ridiculous
love it. Like,
ships
yeah, and they have some good ideas with
that that
some
you
of the
need
stands they've
supported in
done.
a way.
Yeah. Like the couple of these ships have, like the one that the Slave One or the Book of Boba Fett one came with that little stand for it to sit on,
But it's a stand that requires shelf space. Like the
shelf
idea to
space.
have
Right.
mounting
Yeah.
so you could use the wall space effectively
I
because you
love
also
it.
want to see your ships in flight. If it's not one that, the ghost
Yeah.
is going to be a little harder to deal with weight wise, but X-Wings, TIE fighters, stuff that's not heavy,
I
you would
think
think there would be a good way because there's obviously places on it that you can do the support.
I think you're gonna have to erase this portion of the the segment here, and we're gonna have to make sure nobody takes this idea and runs with it, and we figure it out, Ken. That's what I think.
I,
Um, I think you're onto something.
life's too short. We just need
I know.
somebody to do it.
Somebody to do
I
it.
just want to be able to have these things. Because you see everyone coming up with, well, I use guitar mounts, or I use this, or I
Right.
use these brackets, and I just do a
Yeah.
tie to it. But
Right.
one that actually specifically is shaped to cradle that. And with the
Yeah.
advent of 3D printing, you would think that there'd be a way, like, hey, this is the 3D printed shape, and it's got like hollow tubes in it that you shove a piece of metal in, like a metal rod that gives it the support, but the shape is there that it needs. Things like that. Somebody figure this out.
I do have a resin printer, Ken.
Get started. Is
Let's
all I'm
figure it
saying.
out.
Listen,
Yeah.
you got a lot of wall space behind you. You got a lot of ships.
I know.
Think of the
I
ships you
know.
could mount in
I
flight behind
know.
you.
I do want to do something with that. And I have a this is a loft space, so it kind of has one of those
Slanted.
slanted ceilings that comes down, so you could actually leverage that as well to do a
Do it
couple.
staggered so you could
Yeah,
actually
like a
have.
staggered approach.
I mean,
But
and the good
yeah,
thing about it is if it's just cradled and not
yeah,
locked in place, but has enough of a cradle, then you could lift it out. Because the problem with
right.
like fishing line and hanging from things, then it's nightmare to clean. If you ever want to take it
Yeah.
down, if you want to, move it, it's a difficult thing. I'm glad we were able to workshop this. Is all I'm saying is that we arrived at this point.
Somebody figure it out, please. Let us know when you do.
People are figuring out accessory packs. They're doing custom figures. Just give us mounts. Just give us something. You had Landspeeder Luke figuring out the hex stands and what a great that thing for doing
Oh,
risers that
right.
way. There's all kinds
Yeah.
of unique things. The fact that you can, I'm sure you're probably 3D printing your own figure stands now.
I haven't done that yet, but that's definitely one of those things. And I know Anthony
I've been printing up so
Swikard.
many.
Oh, we'll have to talk about it then.
I found a nice someone did it's a teardrop shape and great because 3D printing it to scale it. I printed out 3 3/4 scale and also Black Series scale. Just whenever it printed correctly to where the peg was snug, then that's the scale to lock the print at.
Interesting.
So you don't
I
have
know
loose
there's
peg problems. Like I don't know how many times you've bought a packet of action figure stands. It's like this is loose. The
yeah.
it's not actually gripping anything,
Yeah, I have these specific ones that they no longer sell anymore
which
that
is
are
also
just
the
like
fun.
yeah, they're just like little individual black stands for each foot. They're like little rectangles that go on each foot.
Oh, those are the
So
ones that are sort of
something earth.
they're like
Oh, what were they
slippers. Like
called?
you slide the foot into it,
They
right?
don't slide. They have pegs, and with like, anything with rocker ankles, you got to cut half the peg off so they fit in. Um, that's how those ones are. Anthony Swikard, and what's his name? Imperial Leak. It is IG name. Anyways, he does the stands where you kind of slide the foot into a
The little
slipper
the
type.
little booty stands.
It's like two slants like this, and you slide it into like almost a tent type space. It's like a lean-to.
Well, and the great thing
Um,
is, like, I designed shelf extensions, which
oh,
are little half circles,
oh,
but they have, they're 1 inch grip on either side. So you just slide it if you want a little proscenium space on the front of a shelf. So,
ah,
but I print, some of them are black, some white, but that means that I can print the stand in whatever color matches that shelf extension
very cool.
and do it that way. So it blends in. But that's
Very
the
cool.
fun of 3D printing, and also the nightmare of having too much stuff that needs to be displayed.
I've only just started to dabble in any form of design. I'm always in awe of the people doing actual, figure sculpting. But I've made a LED bracket that I use to mount an LED into for my Jabba's Adventure playset above the Han and Carbonite. So there's the
Oh, so
light
it's got a top light coming down.
shining onto him. And then I also took the control panel next to him that Leia pushes the button to lower him. I created a little control panel. I cut the one out that was on there, and then I designed it to be able to slide two LEDs in and use those to have actual lighting panel.
I mean, lighting. I mean,
So
are you ready to have a field day? I'm assuming with one of those cantinas.
I can't wait. And I tell you what, like going back and speaking about this whole custom frontier, I was very hesitant at first. And it took a friend, a Star Wars friend, who's sadly no longer with us. They passed away of COVID. Um, Took him really encouraging me to jump in, don't be afraid if you're not good at it at first. You'll work on your craft and improve your craft, you know, along the way. And another friend encouraged me to get into buy a resin printer. I'm tired of sending you stuff. You can print the stuff I'm making. So shout out to my buddy Santiago, um, and shout out to Stan Opio. But anyways, it's a whole nother world, and here I am sitting there, um, my daughter coming up to me and telling me her American Girl doll blow dryer isn't working anymore, and I take it apart and just need to solder a wire back on and save the day. So, you know, it's a pretty cool set of skills to start learning and playing around with, and um,
Well, just have the
it's
options.
amazing. The
Just
options,
and
yes,
and know that you don't have to be the creative one. That there are creative folks out there.
it's an amazing world. And I tell you what, people that think the Black Series or 6 inch is not selling or not viable, when you see the amount of 3D stuff out there for 6 inch, it's
But that's also
very
the great
viable.
thing is that all
Yeah,
those files are scalable. So that six
right.
inch stuff can very
Exactly.
easily be for your 3 3/4. So all the stuff that Landspeed or Luke, all those dioramas or other folks are
I
doing, all scalable.
Yeah, I just joined Skylu 3D. So,
There's
um,
so much
amazing stuff.
just wonderful stuff out there.
Yeah.
It's yeah, no, it's a fun world. And resin printing, I have a resin printer that's been sitting here for a year that I haven't touched because of I just don't want to deal with resin. That's a thing I didn't just the concern about resin and then having the proper place to do it and the fact that you have all that process to cure it and make sure you've done that properly. I'm happy enough with the filament printing that I'm doing for what I need to do. But yeah, the options are remarkable even if someone goes out and gets your baseline filament printer and just wants to print out a stand, print out your figure stands, print out a prop, print out whatever. It's remarkable what is possible now.
Yeah, I think that's the next frontier for me.
Just to
Filament
get a
printing. Yeah.
it's so much fun to just grab fun stuff off,
My
and
buddy
also
prints
the figure stands. You'll go bonkers with the figure stands.
my buddy Santiago printed that for me, Docking Bay 90.
Now that's
Um,
all solid colors, right? And that's just pieced together.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he has I think multi-filament.
Yeah, you're swapping out this, but printing it in the.
Yeah, it has like the ability to put multiple ones and then select what colors print what.
So now, are
Um,
you going to do a wash on it?
Probably, yeah. I have a bunch of I still need to do the Streets of Mos Eisley. I haven't done any washing on that other than the stuff I've done to dirty up the Jabba's throne room or Boba Fett Book of Boba Fett throne room.
How did that turn out? You happy with it?
Yeah, pretty good.
Now, did you do it so
If I can,
is it possible to get the it to
I
match
think I can zoom in.
the throne room
Um,
playset, the Han and Carbonite section?
Let
Can you
me
get
zoom
those
in.
two to match?
Trying to zoom in. I think I got them somewhat close. I could probably do a better job. Should turn on the LEDs. Um, no, no. All right. You can see them a little bit there as I turn them on.
So when are you going to hook up the little sound card that plays
You know,
Lofty Neck
I,
and Jedi Rocks and just cycles through all the songs?
I would absolutely love to do that. That's definitely next. I keep forgetting about that, but
Just whatever you're in the mood for, just cue up the next tune.
yeah, it's definitely next.
Oh, now
but,
which
but
Rancor is that? Another thing
that's
I that is missing from my collection.
that's the one that came out in the
Is it the
I'm
Black
sorry,
Series?
yeah, it's the Black Series one that came with the Rancor pit. I think that's what it was called.
Oh, with
Um
Jabba and
Jabba,
the
Luke,
Gamorrean Guard.
Leia, and the Gamorrean Guard. Yeah, I should put a Gamorrean in his hands like Emily had for sure. And then this is all in progress. I'm trying to set up everything right now, but I don't want to set up everything until I've actually put everything, all the technical components together with all the LEDs I've been trying to do. Um, and then there's my sail barge. Um, there's the Sarlacc from the Hot Toys Boba Fett. Um,
Hey, it
I have
works.
a I have a custom blue skirt Weequay in the window. Um, I've got a lot of customs. You can see Scion on the second skiff there. Um,
So what's missing? What now on the top of
uh,
your list that you absolutely need to have for
I,
it?
I need Yatzer Ren, the other shirtless missionary or not missionary pilot, whatever, the shirtless goon that's wearing the same outfit as Fozek. I need an updated
Can we use
Barada.
Joris Sabaya for
I
that?
know, right? I know, yeah. Why not? Um, but yeah, I'd love Shasa Teal as well in there and Fozek. Um, I would absolutely love those. Oh, let me fix my camera and then turn it back around here.
Surely at some point we're going to get a new Max Rebo band, right? Surely that
I,
are properly scaled. Like at
I
some point, it's got to happen, right?
I'm down for that. I'm absolutely down for that.
I mean, when
Um,
you look at how improperly scaled all the releases have been when it comes to what the actual size of them should be, it's a bit comical how large even that the Power of the Force 2 releases were.
I know. If I had all the money in the world, I would just bang out so many Return of the Jedi characters. Ugh, size noodles, an updated size noodles. Um, just so many of them would be absolutely amazing. There's so many characters in Jabba's palace to do an updated Amanaman. Um, Amanaman always ranks pretty high on Last Figure Standing, March Madness, as original 96er, right? So there's so many. I have a lot of different custom ones too. I have a custom Bib Fortuna, Evergray, John Evergray, amazing customizer, even back from the Rebel Scum days. You know, just just doing you stupid camera. Um, just doing amazing
Oh,
figures like an amazing Emperor.
so that's all cloth?
This robe is a custom from somebody that was on Instagram, but the head sculpt,
So is it like a
which is,
satin sort of?
yeah, it's like a soft, like almost like a microfiber type. And it's got wires in the sleeves and in the hood. Um,
Yeah, it layers
but
really nice.
but this, yeah, that's all the wire doings and my tweaking of it. But the head sculpt is, I wish I could get it clear, but it's absolutely amazing. And John Evergray, if people followed him on the Rebel Scum days, I was able to get quite a few different amazing sculpts from him and some of the collectors who molded his stuff. And I have an amazing Yoda as well. Um, just can't say enough about the very artistic and creative customizing community.
Oh, I mean, it's astonishing what's being done out there.
And what's being done digitally, there are folks out there like Evergray who's very anti-digital. And when you see some of the stuff being done, I mean, it's an extension of their hands. It really is. So
And so the things exist. So
embrace it.
until Hasbro makes their official version, then people will go, well, that's not as good as the custom.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, I'm perfectly fine saying, I wasted a lot of time and energy on this, and Hasbro's finally done it justice, and it's way better than this. I'm ready to put it away.
So
Um,
what's the biggest surprise coming out of San Diego? Let's say that they dropped a surprise. What for you would be the biggest that also is reasonable, that actually could make sense that this could happen? Uh, what's one of the biggest surprises that Hasbro could drop as an announcement? And that same sort of surprise way that they surprised you with the Boba Fett, they surprised you.
I
Oh,
would be blown away if they did some kind of figure subscription type platform.
just sort of like that Maddie Creations kind of the Mattel.
I have heard of that before.
Isn't that similar to what they did with their He-Man line for a bit?
They might have done it with Joe's too, and then it like kind of ended after soon after that, which I don't want to happen. But I want something where, we we get some kind of um, you know, allotment of figures dedicated to increase the line, but also provide a consistent basis of, like I was referencing, maybe with those background
So a HasLab
characters.
for figures, really, is what,
Yeah,
or
but
sort of like that
I want it to be, on a
ongoing.
frequency. Yeah.
I mean, if it was a hybrid of sort of the old fan's choice, but also whatever that fan's choice was also a pre-order with a threshold that would lead to one of those being done.
Yeah.
Uh, but it looks like they did a trial balloon because they did that with that open pre-order, the timed open pre-order of the Dragon Man figure for Marvel Legends, the Sentinel.
Uh,
They did that
yeah.
and was like, "Hey, we're going to produce it. We're not doing it as a HasLab. This is going to happen. This is the window you have to pre-order it, and then it's locked." So maybe it's taking the question mark out of it. It's getting to the point of, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So it's a hybrid of all
Yeah.
those approaches, but also isn't as weird and arbitrary as the cutoff dates for HasLabs. It's like, listen, if you're 500 away from a thing happening, give someone an extra hour. Give the folks an extra hour to make that
Yeah.
threshold. If it's
I,
that
I
close,
I feel like they can get really creative with it. They can do, let's say five figures a quarter, and they have three or four different five-figure options, and you back the ones you want to see get made, and the one that gets the most backing moves into a pre-production phase where anyone can then get on board.
right? Or it moves into the threshold. Like, listen, here's the amount of units it would take to produce this. If we get those orders, then this
Right.
fan choice that got the most votes
Yeah, I like where you're
will then
thinking
move
there.
into it. So then you give people an option to get to the stage of what will be the thing that essentially like a HasLab. Do you reach the threshold for production?
Right.
But people are excited about it. They voted for it. They got excited. It's ones their fan choice favorites. Then hey, then it really is put up or shut up. Do you want this figure? This is the production threshold. This is how many need to be ordered to put this into production. And then you'll get your amount of man. Then you'll get your Simalu. Then you'll get your whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of creative ways to do that. I know Chris from Bantha Skull always talks about, well, if you buy a figure, you get a code. And for every figure you buy that has a special code, you get a vote. You get to vote with, you're not
There
just
aren't enough employees left at Hasbro to deal with all
but
that.
you know what I mean? It's giving you that opportunity to
Yeah, but I think
you're voting with your wallet.
but that also limits.
Or maybe you get an extra vote.
Again, this is sounding so onerous. You've run the last figure standing. You know how difficult it is to keep up with things and how you wanted to
It
streamline it.
is it is true. It's like I know we can get way more
I mean, I
than
think the ultimate stage is, do people order it if it's made available? I mean, that's the
yeah,
ultimate threshold for any of this. Is like, hey,
right,
here's your opportunity to do it. Are you going to do it? If not, then you can't say that we never gave the opportunity to do it.
right. It's amazing how
And if it
many
doesn't reach the threshold, then I'm sorry, all the ones who wanted it, this is why we haven't done it to this point. Because the demand actually was not there for it that would justify the cost of doing it.
it the problem has always come down to, are the fans prepared to pay a premium on something that's probably more limited and, you know, looking past, you know, that figures that used to cost $5 to them. That's always been the issue with,
We're never going to change that. There are still people
right,
who think that coffee should be a nickel.
right,
You know, that
right.
that but I don't
It's
think it's
very prevalent in this community,
it
though.
is. I mean, but it's we've seen that been stuck in so many people's minds across everything. You know,
True.
anyone who has a frame of reference.
Yeah.
And
Eggs.
the older we get, yeah, well, the older we get, then we remember when things were cheaper. You know who doesn't remember when things were cheaper? People born way after we were. They're the
Very
ones who are going to
true.
be looking at eggs are $7. I remember when they were $7. Now look, they're like $10 for eggs.
Yeah, I think it's
It's
also
all a sliding scale on what seems reasonable to any segment.
it's always been a hobby though that's a very easy entry because of its low price point. So I think that's part of it as well, that there's a lot of frugal or people that enjoy this because it is a lower cost entry hobby.
But these same people are also going, but you need to put all of the paint washes on there and all of the articulation and all of the accessories,
Right,
and don't you do those epic heroes that are
right,
$10 a
right,
pop that strip
right.
all those things away that are accessible to people who don't have the money for a $17 figure because we want all of these things that drive the cost up.
Uh,
But you're trying to, bring a logical argument to, and sometimes illogical obsession that's based on a large chunk of emotion tied to these things.
we got Velkin Tazeri for like
You
18
won.
bucks.
You won. You won. You got it. You got yours. There are people still out there
Yeah.
crying for Ponkrell who may never see them, but you got yours.
You know, I I have hope. I have hope that, people are
It's
channeling
all
in
about
right
hope.
ways.
It's all
They
about
are
hope.
channeling in right ways that they want certain figures. And as Emily has talked about, right? She stated on your channel that, they are listening, we are balancing things, and
And she wants things too. She's a fan.
Yeah.
She's in there
Well,
making the
we
arguments
we
from that side.
we we all know that they make the things they want at times, and who wouldn't if they were in their shoes? And I've even caught Mr. Rife slipping
He would never.
um
He would
those
never.
admittance in. So come
It was
on.
all circumstantial. It just happened to align.
Yeah, so hey, um I'm really thankful that they're pretty engaged with us. And we've stated, we're a fickle, insufferable, passionate group.
Yeah, as a community, there's been a lot of reasons provided for them to go, we are not dealing with that.
Yeah,
You'll get
yeah,
what we put out. We don't want to hear anything about it. We're not going to engage with you at all. We are a toy
yeah,
company that puts things on shelves, and that's
right.
it. That's it. We're not
We
your friends. We're
we make most of our money on cards,
yeah,
on gaming cards or role-playing cards. Come on.
yeah.
Um, so
Well, it's
yeah,
right back to Kenner at the start before they could do figures. All the paper goods came out
that's right.
because they were cheap and
Yeah.
easy, and they sold. So I think we just need to take a beat and just sometimes look at the stuff that we
Be
have
thankful.
and that
Yeah.
exists and that is around and is remarkable. And maybe sometimes Hasbro can find out how Tungori has the molds for some of these things that people want, and
This
maybe put it back into production that way. I don't know.
the conspiracies on that stuff are epic.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
the sort of black market hot toys market, and you don't know. We don't know. All we know is what Jurassic Park taught us. Nature finds a way. That's
well,
it.
well, there
Shout
it
out to
is.
Victoria.
Well, there it is, Ken.
So that was your five. And we had, are there any other honorable mentions? Are we all good? Or is there anything else you wanted to?
No, like I said, I'm a big fan of Luke.
Yet you
I
choose
love
not a single Luke for any of
I
your five.
love I love Hot Toys. Hot Toys Luke I have. The Revenge I have the Return of the Jedi one and the Snow Speeder outfit one. They're absolutely phenomenal. Um yeah, there's just so many different little aliens that I love too. The new Hammerhead's amazing. I love the Woof from TVC 1.0. The Gamorrean Guard's absolutely amazing. I mean, again, just I could go on and on. There's so many figures just growing up too, but even like I said, even this little guy here means so much to me. Um,
And yet wasn't on your list.
wasn't on the list. He didn't make it this time.
And he
Maybe
knows.
maybe
He
next
feels it.
time.
He feels it.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
and as the canteen is coming up, if you have your
yeah.
wish list for one that's not available for that
Oh
cantina right now.
man. The Cantina dude would be pretty awesome. So he's the one with the Bosk outfit on with the
Okay.
astronaut helmet.
The one that
I would
actually tips them off
Yes. Yeah.
to
I would
Chewie.
love
Yeah.
I would love to see him. I'm hoping they,
Referral guy.
obviously
He's referral guy.
the refer guy. I'm really
He's the hookup.
hoping they eventually do our Leo shoes. I mean, come on, they got
And
this
I
the
mean,
sculpting.
I would love to know first when the canteen is coming. It'd be nice to get an update on a ballpark on that beyond just
I hope they do say something about that at San Diego Comic Con.
because you dealt with
I
the barge. They were really consistent with updates for you all, right? As far as during that process.
yeah, they were great. They even went over the box, the showing the box art where I think with the Ghost, we didn't really see even the box art until it was about to ship. Um,
And listen, I get again, staffing issues are an issue with managing a lot of these things, being able to do a lot of these extracurriculars above and beyond. Hey, you ordered a thing, you'll get it. Don't worry, you'll get the thing eventually. Uh, but occasional just sort of updates like, hey, we have a tighter window for when we're expecting this to come. Like how many people over the holidays with the Ghost were like, but I'm on vacation for 2 weeks. No one's home.
Yeah. The fulfillment has been very interesting lately. It seems like they're bulk shipping stuff. They're holding it and then bulk shipping, and it's all coming, like I said, in spurts where we're getting a bunch of stuff, you know.
Hasbro Pulse is just a void of information when it comes to any of the stuff that's ordered through them.
Yeah, there was a bunch of stuff shipping right now that was supposed to be September, I think. Like people are getting Asajj Ventress from Amazon already,
Yeah, I
so
mean, I just I had pre-ordered like the Fantastic Four Marvel Legends movie figures through Hasbro Pulse, still showing August sometime, no updates. Looked on Walmart. Walmart's like, "We'll have them to you by Saturday." Okay, it's the same
hmm,
price, free shipping.
wow,
I guess I'm gonna move the order over because it'd be nice to have them when I'm excited about the movie, timing
right.
wise.
Yeah, and it's really interesting with Walmart, I'm sorry, Hasbro and their distribution, right? Because Walmart is such a huge buyer, they probably import their stuff directly from Hasbro China. So Hasbro Pulse is like almost a separate entity from Hasbro. It's
Yeah,
it's
it's
fascinating.
it's 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 weird to think that one of the worst places to order things from Hasbro is Hasbro Pulse when it comes to consistent delivery on anything. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
everybody else got all their stuff a month ago. Okay, well, I guess we'll wait to see if I get a vague, hey, just a heads up, your thing's coming. Yeah, but when? Oh, just a heads up, check your payment. Yeah, but when is it coming? Just a heads up. Just make sure you check your payment.
It's
You'll
amazing
you'll
that
spot a raven.
it's amazing how difficult it can be at times just to order something on the site. So,
Well, I guess we'll see for the Black Series folks how that post-convention Anakin and Obi-Wan
oh,
goes.
I am I am loving that set. I think it's a pretty amazing set, and I do hope they figure out a similar update. I know we've already gotten it in the past. I know us 3 3/4 inch collectors. We've gotten it before, but um I think they nailed that one out of the park and
Well, accessory wise, I mean, we got the panning droid in the
yeah,
30th anniversary set,
we
but
got a lot of the base and the panning droid
so
and
we just need the platform.
oh well, didn't we get a platform? Maybe not the exact platform with the controls and everything, but
Right.
we got a platform before.
Right, but not
Um
the that would be properly scaled with.
Properly scaled, you're right, properly scaled and actually has the controller that Obi-Wan uses and everything. Um Yeah, and I'm loving a lot of the articulation updates. Not to digress too deep into that, but the ball jointed wrists that the new Han Solo has, um, that Obi-Wan and Anakin have. They even have boot swivel, um, and the soft PVC vinyl overlays for their tunics, which the new Anakin has. That the new Vader. That came in
In
the
the three
three
pack.
pack. Yeah, absolutely
I mean, it's
amazing
a
new
smart
tech.
way to make things modular.
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming, as far as then, I'm assuming you could actually have a production line that's just churning out the base components constantly
Of
that then
Jedi.
gets the overlay, so you could
Yeah.
maybe move things along faster in the production process.
Yeah, good point. It's a great point. But I think it's really cool to keep seeing these engineering advancements. And I hope a few more of them make it to 3 3/4 too, just like Photoreal did. Um, I'd love to see these ball jointed wrists on figures that really could use more than just either this motion or this motion. It's like,
I.e.,
why do we have to pick
all of your
one?
Jedi's.
Yeah, right. We need this, Emily, Chris, please, not this or maybe this.
Also, I'm
So,
telling everyone
um,
in the TVC community, make a GIF. of that. And
Um,
the
yeah.
Miko articulation demonstration gif.
Yeah, but anyways, that set looks great, and I hope we see an updated Obi-Wan Kenobi at some point too.
I mean,
That's overdue.
it's got to.
Yeah.
I'll bet you $1. Bet you
All
a
right.
dollar by the end of the year, there will be the announcement of the
Ooh.
Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan.
Well, I hope I give
Maybe
you a
even a
dollar.
drop. Maybe even by the end of the year, a drop. But I think we'll have an announcement.
That would be pretty epic.
I mean, San Diego is going to be the determiner in just a few weeks of a lot of what the second half of the year is going to look like.
I mean, we do have a couple cases coming, right? We do have Obi-Wan, a reissue of the Stormtrooper. We have Callus. Help me out, Ken.
For that wave.
For that
Uh,
wave, we have Asajj is in that wave. We
right.
have
Isn't it Panda Baba in that wave?
Ponda Baba's in that wave. Dengar is in that wave.
Crosshair.
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 Crosshair. Uh,
Is the Obi-Wan in that wave?
I think Obi-Wan and the Stormtrooper are a different case assortment. I'm forgetting what else is in that, or if they've even been announced. But I think Chewie and maybe Han are in that wave. I'm assuming.
Right, to fill out those
Um,
other slots.
yeah. So it's interesting to see what's left for the year. And if there is nothing left,
Now, because the
is
sculpting exists, and we've seen that pipeline, that transition, the fact that we've gotten a massive run of Shakti, Luminar Unduli, Barriss Offee, all hitting Black Series.
yeah.
Do you think next year will be the year of the Jedi Council, essentially? The prequels Yoda
I mean,
also exist as a sculpt.
I've always said this that, if the tooling or the sculpting exists out there in Black Series, it's a much better bet that we'll see some of those things, right, come into TVC. It only makes
The
business sense
Jedi
to
Council
them.
HasLab. Is what we're getting?
Yeah. I mean, maybe they'll announce that new era. I don't know if they'll do, maybe they'll save that for PulseCon because that's closer to the end of the year, right? It's kind of right before into Q4. Um, but yeah, it could be interesting what they're dropping. I mean, obviously we got to see the new Han Solo and the updated Chewbacca. We're getting I believe they've mentioned a updated lower body and a new head.
And there's got to
And
be a C-3PO announcement by the end of the year.
oh my God. I mean, I'm looking at my Hot Toys one there. He's so amazing. Um,
Is that the Return of the Jedi one that came with Salacious?
yeah,
Yeah,
got it. Yeah,
had
yeah,
to.
it's awesome.
I had the
Um,
sideshow one for years, but yeah, the
oh, nice. I got the deluxe R2 there as well.
is that the Attack of the Clones? Technically, the Attack of the Clones one.
I don't think so. It's the one that came with all the appendages.
Yeah, in the retro box, right? The sort of
No, it didn't come in a retro.
because I know the Attack of the
Um,
Clones had all of the appendages. Well, that'd be a prequel era one that had all the appendages.
I don't think so, but we can take a look at
Did
that.
it come with a C-3PO head?
No,
Okay,
no.
mine did. So it had the toe behind C-3PO head version.
Oh, yep. Love it. I it,
It's the same R2 basically,
3PO,
regardless.
three, yeah, yeah, yeah. 3PO's on my top 10 for LFS. So, and just a little, a little sneak peek here, but um we're going to be soon communicating out when we're launching uh this year's last figure standing. And the good news is it's now less than a month away.
Well,
Oh, exactly today, a month away. August 2nd, we're going to be launching. So,
well,
getting ready
perfect
to
timing for the hype of.
communicate all that. Yeah, it'll be right after SDCC. Hopefully they'll announce a bunch of stuff that we can not have to keep asking for.
Yeah, but
Um,
then it's going to be operating in that weird window before PulseCon, right? So it suddenly could
right.
be undercut by
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's hard to navigate all that stuff with their announcement schedule, but
I'll ask you,
um
do you have you heard rumblings of what 375 in the line is going to be?
I don't know. I mean, Han and Chewie have not had their numbers announced yet. I don't know if
But it'd be
Han,
weird to pick one of those out to be because they
I
seem to be like a
know.
duo, and it's not that would be.
I feel like it needed to be Luke and it wasn't. Could
So
it be 3PO? Is 3PO worthy of 375? He's been in everything.
yeah, but he
He
was
is the
also,
character that transcends
and it goes right back to the start of the line.
true.
So if you want something that calls back to the beginning of the line,
Yeah, I don't know. Steve keeps teasing Easter eggs
I
and
know it's like
saying
his
that
sole hobby at this point. Like
exciting things
he's
are
really
coming.
leaned in to be the Riddler of the
I
collecting
know.
space.
I know.
It's like you do
Um
realize the Riddler was a villain, right? Right?
yeah, so well, you think it's 3PO?
We put another dollar on it.
Yeah,
As far as special, what else are you going to do that's special?
I know.
That
You've
clearly would have
raised
people excited. That's absolutely needed. That is long
they
overdue. That represents the line. That has a history to it. That goes back and is an iconic figure that has not been announced or touched.
they have to hit them out of the park if they do.
It's
It
not going to.
has to,
There's no new media that would slot into that would feel iconic enough to be the thing
you
that is.
can't do that. You have to do it
And it has to be
yeah,
history. I mean, if it's 375, you're marking it as because this is a line scale that goes back and has that history. It has to be some kind of historical figure.
man, what
It's not
if
going
it
to be
is?
George. It's not. We're not getting
What
George Lucas in it. We're not getting
oh
anything like
God.
that.
What if it is Empire Strikes Back, Boba Fett? Oh man. No, I feel like 3PO would be worthy because
I think you
he
want to go
is,
back to the start of the line,
yeah.
and it's the only one that's by its absence.
Yeah, Boba was a what, 21 back, 20 back? What was he? Anyway,
Yeah,
um, it needs to be, if it is 3PO, it needs to be obviously 100% all new. He has to have a great range of motion for what R2 for I'm sorry, for what 3PO. Did I say R2 before? I'm sorry. 3PO for what he had. And I'm pretty sure the Black Series one is pretty amazing, isn't it?
yeah. The most recent one. Yeah, I think they
Yeah,
retooled it a bit based on whatever
right.
the Forlom retooling was
And
that they did.
it needs to have that carbonized paint application to it. Not vac metal,
Right.
because we all know vac metallized can't handle the articulation that the line does he deserves.
And also, you would get that weathering feel from that
Yeah,
carbonization look that
yeah. The
he had for
carbonized would be perfect.
99% of the first film. He wasn't shiny for much of that film.
Right. And then in the third one, too, and in Return of the Jedi, you know, when I first got the Hot Toys one, I was like, whoa, there's like a lot of this like
Pitting
rusty
on it and
spray and
yeah.
pitting on him. I was like, I don't know about this. I think I got some defects. And then I rewatched the opening scene and I was like, oh my God, he has all of it.
Yeah, he's not been there's no oil bath. He's
And then standing back here, you can't, he looks perfect. Looks perfect. So, yeah, I
and
think
you can't finish off a year when you release
I
everyone in that
know.
land speeder
So
that
true.
needed new figures and not and not
Except
C3PO.
and create room for him to sit
And
properly.
let that be a sales point. Like, listen,
Right.
we got it. But our last version couldn't effectively sit in this thing.
Uh,
Are there enough of the 30th anniversary sitting in throne figures for people to buy for it?
I know that's the one everyone resorts to now. Um,
So yeah,
yeah,
that's my money. My
I,
money is,
I like it. Um, I just, yeah, I hope they just do it right, and I think they would.
or it's Simulu.
Man, I think if they were ever to do Simalu, they would save him for a lovely,
He should be a pack in
planet
with like
planet
the
killing machine, you know.
he's got to be the pack in with a re-release of a or a new version of the shuttle, right? Like he's going to be the pack in figure with the Imperial shuttle. That's like the
That
only
or
really way to do him.
that or some helmet. I'm sorry, helmet. Some planet, that
You're thinking Spaceballs.
yes. Yes. Uh um well, we'll see what happens, but I think they're gonna, I think, drop a couple big announcements, get people really excited
I
at
know, and it's got to be something that makes up with the
Comic-Con.
fact that there won't be a HasLab this year.
I'm still hopeful for something.
I, I have, I would love the idea of it. Financially, I do not love the idea of a HasLab this year.
Ooh.
I would like to
Well,
take one little break, even if like launch
yeah,
in the spring, even if it saves in the spring. This year, let this year settle because of everything that's going on. Can we have one thing that isn't looming as an immediate massive purchase in
I
this
think I
time?
think they've stated before too that they don't always have to be super expensive. So if they do one that's a little more, you know,
Yeah,
wallet friendly.
like the 200
Yeah.
range,
Yeah. That could be a figure dream pack, I think.
or maybe the TVC version of the Anakin versus Obi-Wan.
Is that HasLab worthy? I don't know.
What does HasLab worthy mean anyway?
A little
If it's
bigger, a little bigger.
or just hey, is the only way you're getting it. I mean that for me is a good enough
Because
threshold
that
for
that
HasLab too.
that set for the Black Series is like over $100, right?
Yeah,
It's like 109 or something, or
I think it's 109.
109.95 or something. 109.99. That's a lot. Wow. Um, I think if they
But it is a
did
lot. I mean,
that,
it's two
yeah,
massive set pieces in it with with the lava effects and two brand newly tooled figures with a ton of accessories, heads, hands, saber effects. I mean, I that's one of the ones that does feel like, yeah, I can see 109 for that. I don't like it, but I can understand it getting to that price point.
I mean, it's just to
Or
see,
then give us Anakin's pod racer
ooh, yeah, I
or
think
Anakin and Sebulba's pod racer, like as a duo pod racer set for the thing, and that'd be like a 250 price point.
I think too with the exclusives or the Comic-Con exclusives, they go all out on that packaging too, and the packaging looked pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Um,
Good luck flying
but
home with that, folks.
I've done it, and what's crazy is the stuff I brought on the airplane that I didn't ship to my house made it safer than the stuff I shipped to my house. I was so mad. One of the exclusive Squishmallows I sent home was damaged. And I was like, I don't understand. This doesn't make sense.
In like an ironic fashion.
I squeezed onto an airplane in a middle row seat and didn't squish all the stuff I was holding with me, but the stuff I sent home to make sure it didn't get damaged got damaged.
So that's the one you kept.
I was gonna tell you not to open this, but you can open it now and not feel bad. You don't have to worry about this paying for, college
Good
someday.
news is it'll fit in the barge now.
Yeah.
Well, where should people find you online and seek you out?
Yes, sir. So yeah, people can find me on Facebook, John Miko. If you don't know, the TVC Facebook group is called Star Wars: The Vintage Collection. Very creative name. We spared no expense.
Or
Uh,
letters?
or letters. Yeah, there was this whole hoopla at one point where like every site is every group page is getting deleted if it has Star Wars in the name. Disney must be taking action. And we made a decision that like, you know what? We're not changing our name. Somebody else might take the name we took from Hasbro, and maybe it'll do us all a favor someday and make this burden go away. No, I'm just kidding. Um, uh, so yeah, you can
And so
find
they
me
left it
there.
just to spite you.
Yeah, yeah. So you can find me there. We do have a lot of, again, solid conversations. It's where people can really go and make a post about, some idea they have or showing off their collection or their dioramas, their setups, anything about TVC and anything related to TVC. We got a great group of admins there. I do want to give a shout out to Dick Myrtle, Lando, Corey, Augustine and Ariel. You guys are all great. Ariel and Augustine are going to Comic Con. I'm hoping they do an interview with Hasbro and we can ask some of these questions like, is 3PO going to be VC375? Don't tell us, but maybe give us a couple, nudges and winks. Um,
Also, get off our backs pack.
what's that?
The get off our backs pack.
Oh, the get off our backs pack. Bring it. Um, yeah, and what's the era for next year? Hurry up. Let's hear
So
what it
everyone can
is.
start planning their eBay purchases to fill it out.
Oh man, exactly, right. Um, yeah, and you can find me on Instagram at the far side of Endor. Maybe you'll send your fleet over there. Who knows? Um, and then, yeah, I'm on YouTube. I really just live stream on YouTube. I made one video once and couldn't believe the amount of time um, that goes into editing a video. And I said, I'm probably never going to do this again. But it's John Miko TVC is my YouTube handle. Someone had John Miko, of course. Jeez. Um, yeah, and then I have my blog, johnmiko.com. Please check it out. I just posted an article on kind of the mid-year checkpoint for TVC where I share a link to the data and analytics that I provide on it and a breakdown of everything that's transpired so far and that we know of coming up.
Well, my one data request was that Venn diagram of the figures that all age groups request.
I'm gonna send it to you on a post-it note.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll send you
Well,
my address.
thanks
It's
for having me on, man.
Thanks
It's
for coming on. I'm glad
been
that
a
it
good
worked
time.
out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the
Appreciate you.
stress that was building up over it. Hopefully at the end of it, it was
It was
fine.
it was all worth it. It's
All
all
went
worth it.
well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, John, for being on the show. And thanks to everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, you can follow me on Blue Sky at Ken Plume and all the other stuff that's on Blue Sky. Insta Ken Plume on Instagram. YouTube, you're here on YouTube, you're watching this. If you're not subscribed, that'd be swell, I guess. That'd be nice. People could do that. Patreon.com/Ken Plume is where you can support all the stuff I do. There's all kinds of exclusive stuff. If you become a $1 member, you get access to all the exclusives on there. There's a ton of interviews and quiz shows and a lot of people stuff I've done with names that is all on there for you to check out. So until then, thank you for being on the show, John, and thank you all for watching. And now we awkwardly wave as we go away. Bye, everybody.